on earth had the idea and how did it all begin? Incredibly, the first Lions tour was organised and funded by three men who played in England's first ever Test cricket match: opening bowler Alfred Shaw, opening batsman Arthur Shrewsbury and captain James Lillywhite. The 1888 Lions squad, then made up of 17 English, 4 Scots and 1 Welshman and a Northern Irishman, took a 46-day boat trip to New Zealand before heading to Australia. The Lions weren't alone on the boat. Also on board were 300 stoats and weasels, who were brought over to eliminate New Zealand's rabbit problem. The first ever Lions captain, Robert Seddon, died of drowning midway through the tour while sculling on a river. Andrew Stoddart, who was another of the cricketers there, took over and was the star of the tour. The next one was the first to get official recognition from the RFU against the newly formed Springboks. Although the Lions won the series and beat the Boks again 5 years later, in the 12 series since in South Africa,
Good evening and welcome to the Final Word. Phoning here on talkSPORT with me, Majestic. No parts this week. The gaffer's away. He's left me for golf. And so joining me on the show tonight is former Everton and Burnley boss Sean Dyche. Dyche is in the house. And on today's show, we'll get stuck into the big topics as Marcus Rashford comes back into the fold at Manchester United, and we discuss Kuti, Christian Romero, as the links to Atletico Madrid ramp up, and we need your help to put together our ultimate Final Word music festival. There's lots of music festivals going on this weekend that we'll be talking about. But as always, it's about you and your opinions, so pick up the phone 03717 223344 to air your views to the nation on the Final Word phone in here on talkSPORT. Sunday afternoon, there's football on the TV. Competitive football's back, Dyche. It feels good.
I know, yeah. It's been a long time. Well, no, it's not been a long time coming their way, is it? Because of the World Cup.
Yeah.
So it's filled the void.
Yeah. But it's nice, like, with the Carabao Cup with this weekend, brings jeopardy straight away.
I know. It's mad, isn't it? I know there's been some results when you're going, oh, that looks... You know yourself, as well, you can imagine as a manager, them games ain't great, you know what I mean? You know, if you're like Wolves or someone, you're expected to get off to a fly down. They did, as it happens. They win 3-0.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you get my point, don't you? You know, that people are already asking questions if you don't win your first game.
Well, that's the problem. You go into those games, big expectations for the season. You look at with Bristol City, for example. That's not the start.
Yeah, no, change of manager. You know, he wants to get off to a flyer. Fans are all asking questions. They've seen some of the pre-season results. I mean, pre-season's often a misnomer. You know, it's a massive challenge for managers nowadays, pre-season, because there's that much coverage now that it almost feels like must-wins. You know, thank goodness me, it used to be getting the players fit.
Absolutely.
But now it feels like must-wins. So there's a lot on it. Weirdly, there's a lot on it in pre-season.
Yeah, and obviously with the transfer market still on, and you know, you're bringing away players that might not be with you anymore. You're looking at younger players. It must be such a difficult.
Yeah, and it started to fire up because the World Cup kind of. The business side of football shuts down for a while, you know what I mean? Because everyone's concentrating on other things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff going on behind the scenes, obviously, and, you know, agents and clubs spinning plates. But now it's beginning to take its real viewpoint, isn't it, about what's going to go on. You know, who is going where, what are clubs signing, who's signing who, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And one of the big names is Marcus Rashford.
Yeah.
People have been talking about. And one of the big things was, and I was talking to one of your former players on Friday, Charlie Austin.
Good lad, great lad.
He had lots of lovely things to say about you, I must say.
Great lad.
And he was saying, listen, I cannot stress to you how important and big of a deal it is as a football player, your number. And the fact if someone takes your number and your number's been given to someone else, how that feels. and he's like, obviously with Rashford's number 10 being given to Cunha, he didn't have a squad number.
Yeah, I mean, I get his point, but that would be Chaz being Chaz, you know what I mean? And strikers, you know, them selfish strikers, you know what they're like. But, no, I get his point. I mean, I think the Rashford thing's an interesting one, and what I would say is the manager now in place, if anyone's going to get an arm on the shoulder, not literally, because he might not need that, by the way, I'm just imagining, you know, like that discussion process when you speak with the player and go, look, why not come back and revive yourself once again? Yeah. You know, because he can under a new manager. Different feel, different management style, different people around you, and that sort of thinking. Rashford, he's still a good player. Majestic didn't get a bit more time in the World Cup,
Yeah.
personally, you know, because of his direct running and his direct carrying of the ball, and he's an effective player. Whether he can go back and get it going again, we'll have to wait and see. But I think he'll probably be in good hands, I would imagine, with familiar faces around him, you know what I mean, at the top.
If you was looking after him as an agent, where would you tell him to go now? What would you say? Would you say go back to United, prove yourself? Like, because obviously there must be some kind of animosity. What's that? Yeah, I know. I still got the dust in my mouth from the festival yesterday.
Exactly.
But with him in the hierarchy at Manchester United, that must be something they've got to sort out, you know, because there's been a lot of publications.
Yeah, I mean, I must say, look, I always try and give a manager's view, as you probably know, but I must say that some of that stuff, you don't know how much of it is real. We know that, right?
Yeah.
And equally, it always presupposes there's a problem. There might not have been a problem. It might just have been a bit of a, you know, when things just don't feel right, they don't fit right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be a massive, great big problem. Now, whether it is a problem or not, we'll find out, I'm sure. But it seems to me that why can't you go back to a club? He's had a look somewhere else, right? Worked in spells. Maybe that's giving him more of a viewpoint of where you were in the first place.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? Because you go somewhere else and you go, actually, my life was pretty good there.
Yeah.
On the pitch and off the pitch. You know what I mean? So maybe that'll make him, you know, be maybe a bit more hand in glove again. Because it was not a very short time ago, he's ripping it. Do you know what I mean? So he can rip it again, I'm sure of that.
Yeah, the talent's there for all to see.
Yeah.
And
you know, he's had a lot go on.
yeah.
You know, people forget about, you know, the school dinners thing and all that.
Correct.
It seems a throwaway thing now, but it went at the time, it was ever so heavy on his shoulders. You know what I mean? Brilliant idea as it was, but you got to carry that, haven't you?
Absolutely. And the thing is,
Now,
as well,
just get on with his football.
people forget that he is now older as well.
Yep.
He's been in the game such a long time as a young man. You know, surely these players
Come in
mature.
at 17, 18, I think.
Yeah,
You know,
very
out the blue, by the way.
Yeah.
People forget he weren't like the class of '92 when everyone went, God, these lads are mate.
Yeah.
He sort of got thrust in from almost like surprise package. You know what I mean?
And
never
did
looked back.
so well.
Yeah,
so
never
early.
look back. Never look back. And people forget that sometimes you know, because of recent times you forget the origins of where them players come from. And he's a remarkable player for a long time.
Yeah.
Funny spell for a bit, and then now let's see if he can come through it and regain where he was.
Yeah, for me as a Spurs fan, I would love him at Spurs. Like under the Zerbi, that shows how highly regarded he is. Other clubs would love him. I think, you know, like you said, Villa started off well, had little spells. There's not been like a consistent run. It was interesting to me though, and I get your take on this, that Barcelona opted to go and spend the money on Gordon rather than opt of I think it was about 30 million quid they could have got Rashford for.
Yeah.
Is that reflective of his time at the club or attitude or what?
Well, you don't know, is the business side, don't forget as well.
Yeah.
You know, allegedly, Rashford's on huge money. I'm not saying Gordon won't be, but he won't be on the money that Rashford's on, I doubt. Might be, but I doubt it. You know, double's double, isn't it? But, you know, if you're doubling up Gordon, I think there's a big difference between dealing with Rashford's contract, or so I believe. So I think there is a business element, and a business element maybe with the age sort of situation, you know, young up and coming with Gordon. And at the end of the day, right, you know, scouts, that's what they're there for. The nuances between a player A and player B can sometimes be very, very small.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't always have to be massive gaps between the players. Can fit one team, not fit another, or fit a manager more like. Fit a manager, maybe not another manager.
Yeah.
There's not always massive gaps. So I think there's a lot more to it than just purely, you know, why that player and why that player. I think there's a bit more in them packages.
And I think that's really interesting take with a manager, because I think sometimes as fans, people look at it and go, well, we obviously weren't fancied by him. Like you said, the nuances.
Exactly, yeah.
Are
the nuances, the details in the performance, the details in what you want from the performance to fit into the way the team works. So I think there'll be a bit of that as well.
Absolutely.
And the business side of things.
Well, we for those that don't know the football, you love your music as well.
I do.
And obviously with me being a...
I've already chatted your ears off for about 25 minutes before we go.
Me as a musician, producer, DJ, we're going to be talking about festivals today, and we're going to make a final word phone-in festival, and we're going to throw some of our favourite names and play some tunes on the show as well. And I'll tell you someone who I would have on our final word festival as a DJ is Eats Everything, and he's listening to the show right now. He said, I've got Majestic Dyche on. Get up there.
Brilliant. Good on you.
Eats Everything. Proper DJ. Proper. You know, like... In this day and age, the art of DJing has become quite easy. Yeah.
The old stick in the laptop.
And it syncs and all that. Eats Everything.
I'm all right in Carl Cox. He still mixes, doesn't he? Still does vinyl.
Yeah, he
does a lot of vinyl.
Well, he did a vinyl-only set when he supported The Prodigy and went back to playing hardcore, which is amazing.
Right, I was reading up on him recently, so I now remember him from my first time round in life. I'm reborn.
But Eats Everything's another one of those people who has been a resident DJ, done 9-hour sets, can play every genre.
And the hard
of music.
yards, mate. Hey.
Hard yards.
Yeah, fair play.
And so
I love that.
I doff my cap to each everything and salute a fellow
I love
bad boy DJ.
I love it in football as well. I love the managers who have been out there doing the graft.
Yeah.
They've earned their way. I've always admired that.
Well, I do find a bit of a synergy between music and football, because if you love your music and you're a player or a manager in football, and then you come into our world, there's like a respect to us, and we have this mad respect for you guys, because I just think it's respecting people who have earned their stripes and grafted in a field for a particular length.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, people forget that with DJs. I know DJs have told me their story, mixing when they were little kids, with vinyl and that.
I was 12.
Yeah, well, 12. There you go. And people forget that hours and hours and hours of graft, and they forget that. Sports people are the same, hours and hours. No matter what you think of them now, people have opinions about their whatever they think, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
But they've done the hard yards. Trust me, every professional footballer, particularly elite ones in the Premier League, have done the hard yards to get to where they've got to.
Brings me on nicely too, because we talked about Rashford coming back into the fold of Manchester United, and and I think you're absolutely right. I think the perfect candidate to do that is Michael Carrick.
Yeah, well, I would imagine so. And it doesn't always, if you know what I mean, just to explain to our wonderful listeners, it's not always being best mates.
No. People
you respect.
Yeah.
But Carrick will have respect. Whether your mates or not is irrelevant. He'll go, no, I respect you because of what you've done in the game and what you stood for at Man United, including Rashford.
Well, it's funny because Pards has told the story before on air of when he went to Newcastle, Joey Barton going into his office going, we don't rate you. What have you done to be here? And he was like, well, I'll show you. Like, trust me, give me a few weeks and I'll show you. You ever been in a situation like that where people have questioned?
Not quite as powerful as that, but that type of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, Forest was a good example of that. Players going, what we're doing this for, what we're doing that for. There was a time when you used to go, we're doing this because it's good for you. And they'd go, okay.
Yeah.
Football management is changing. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I was trying to give an opinion on here and I was explaining to people, it's my opinion. I mean, it's the right opinion. But I've earned my stripes a little bit. So what I'm saying is it's changing.
Yeah.
It's right or wrong, it's changing. Life's changing.
Correct.
A lot more feedback style now. Players do have a say now. Whether you like it or not, they have a say. And they'll talk to the director of football, or they'll talk to the owner, or they'll talk to, whoever. And that's the change in football. It used to be not so long ago, you'd tell them this, you'd show them why, and you'd explain it, and they go, okay, Gaffer, that's it. Now, sometimes it's not enough. They want more than that.
Yeah, but we are seeing a little bit of return to, and I was saying this on Friday, that, 30 is the new 20. You look at with Chelsea, some of the signings. Are we now understanding that those groups of lads, and as a gaffer, there's only so much the gaffer can do. You need some generals in there.
I couldn't agree more. Do you know what? We remarked about this a couple of weeks ago on one of the other shows of talkSPORT, and I was saying more or less what you've just said, mate, is that the manager can control so much, but the way that the players are changing and shifting, the culture now has to be set. And the best way of setting the culture, or one of the ways, not the best way, the manager leads it, of course. Your staff then, the team behind the team, they have to make sure that people can connect with the new culture and what it means, what it stands for, explain. I've never tried to not explain. I didn't just demand off players. I said, this is why I'm doing it. Yeah. But it's helpful if you have a couple of leaders in your group, mate. If you've got a couple of leaders in your dressing room who can correct, let's say, the pathway of the ones who are not, the old energizers and sappers, as Clive Woodward called it, rightly so. You need to get the sappers out. Yeah. Now, you either realign them by showing them or talking to them and get them on board, or you need a couple of people in the dressing room who go, hang on a minute. Yeah. Well, not just identify. By the way, I must make this clear as well, because this is important to me as a manager. I'll give you my insight. My captain, for example, never, ever did ask him to tell tales, because I wouldn't make him do that. Yeah. I never asked for a grass and didn't want it. But I demand of him, if it's something really serious, you've got to tell me. If it's something that's undermining the whole team, I need to know to correct it. And if I can't, you better correct it before it gets to me, because that's part of your responsibility.
Yeah, I remember speaking to a friend of mine who was a coach at Tottenham when Poch was there, and he said Poch was so eagle-eyed and had cameras on training sessions that if he saw someone that looked like they got the ump, he'd go and find out what's going on.
Oh, big man, I've got some camera stories that are brilliant, mate. The players used to come in, I'm not going to name one of them, but he came in and said, no, I wasn't doing that. I literally went, well, let's have a look then. Because he got cameras on the training. And he went, oh, yeah, maybe I was. Imagine that. Talk about caught red-handed.
Yeah, caught on candid camera.
Yeah, brilliant.
Lots to get into. As I said, Pards away today. So we've got the wonderful Sean Dyche in. So it's great to have another manager's insight to the game. Next, we're going to the phone lines. How to solve a problem like Rashford is what we're asking. Man United fans. We've got some amazing Man United fans who listen regularly to this show. We want to hear you. Do you want him back at Man United? And other clubs, Liverpool, Spurs, Arsenal fans, would you take him at your football club? Call us right now, 037172224. I'll tell you who will definitely take him is Thompson's Garage in Belfast, the nightclub where he was pictured. So big shout to Mark and the boys at Thompson's Garage, because I know they had a good night of him. And what I love about that, the papers try to ring Mark and get a story. He goes, no, I'm not talking to them.
That's brilliant.
Proper.
Yeah, fair play.
Proper lad.
Old school looking after.
Good on Mark. I salute you.
Absolutely.
I'll see him soon, I'm sure. 03717 22 3344. We'll hear from you next on the final word on talkSPORT.
But the Vinny Jr. one was a audacious attempt, to say the least.
Big word for you.
I've been learning this
You
book that I've
have
been
been.
reading. I've got these big words in. I'm trying to keep them in my brain. No, but it was always going to be tough shit, man. Like Vinny Jr. leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, it just doesn't sound right. As Arsenal fans might get angry, I'll say it, but like, imagine Neymar Jr. at Barcelona. He's not going to leave Barcelona for Arsenal. They're always going to come to an agreement. Real Madrid aren't going to let a talent like that at 26. Do you know what I mean? What's he worth on the market? I know he's got a year left, but what's he worth, Vinny Jr.? Over 100 million easily. Real Madrid are never going to let that go. And Vinny Jr. in his mind won't want to leave Real Madrid. Imagine the crowds in Brazil, the people that love Vinny Jr. because he plays for Real Madrid. I just can't see it.
Well, that is interesting because it was my understanding that it was if he wanted to leave Real Madrid. There's never been a he wants to leave Real Madrid.
He's not said it, has he?
He's looking for the right offer. He's looking at Mbappe going, can I get money close to that? Can I get a deal close to that?
Of course.
And if they're not going to give me what I deserve, then yes, I would be interested in what Mikel Arteta is doing. And don't get me wrong, Arsenal are a massive club and they are on the verge of winning the Champions League. They're looking to go back-to-back Premier League champions. They absolutely can, right? They can. So, and I think he would get them over the line, but he's Vinicius Jr.
Rashford! And they found a way again! Marcus Rashford!
What does the future hold for Rashford? My understanding is that he ideally would still like to leave. United still not particularly happy with the hierarchy there.
I'm just surprised teams haven't bid for him. He's 28. Is it the wages?
It's all a bit of a mess, isn't it? Considering, being a Manchester boy, you don't really like to see it.
Get him gone. Try and do a commercial deal that makes sense.
When he was at Man United, I think he'd lost a bit of love for the club, to be honest with you. He didn't really want to be there.
Good evening, you're listening to The Final Word, phoning here on talkSPORT with me, Majestic, and Premier League gaffer Sean Dyche in the house as Pards is away today. Good luck, Pards, on your golfing expedition. I believe I got to send him a Donald Trump impression because he's playing. He was in front of Trump's locker earlier, which was quite funny.
Oh, is he up there?
Yeah.
It's near, just behind the other golf course. What's the famous one up there?
Oh, what's it called?
Oh, goodness me, it's just behind it. It's Trump's course is just behind it. Is that what it is in Scotland?
Yeah.
Oh, couldn't it? Oh.
Someone will tell us. It's great.
Yeah. Someone will text in. Yeah, someone will text in.
That's the best thing here. You get something wrong, they'll tell you.
Someone give you an answer, yeah.
So we're asking about Marcus Rashford.
Glen Eagles.
Yeah.
Just behind Glen Eagles,
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
So, yeah, good luck to Pards on his golf there.
Absolutely.
So we have wonderful final word listener, Jill, who's probably going to miss Pards today, but Dyche is a superb step in, Jill. How are you?
Hi, good evening, Maj. Good evening, Mr. Dyche. How
Jill.
are you?
Good, thank you.
It's great to have you on the final word, although, Pards, we do miss you and good luck with the golf.
Yes,
Absolutely,
indeed.
of course.
Listen, Jill, we've talked Man United for years. We've suffered together as Spurs and Man United on a Sunday here for many a season in recent times. Marcus Rashford, what's your feelings towards him as a Man United fan? And I know you're a big Man U fan.
I'm a huge United fan, and no chance. A lot of Man United fans are going to be saying the same thing. Not coming back in, no welcoming back to no fold for me. And Mr. Dyche, I love you, but we do know, because we've watched him, and we watched him for the last 2 years, where he could not be bothered for United. And people saying he wanted to wear the shirt. He didn't want to wear it then. And he went to Barcelona, and that's where he wanted to be. So, for me, I love Michael Carrick. I think he's doing a fantastic job. But Carrick or no Carrick, no to Rashford coming back. And for me, I wanted to ask you about, the options that you're saying, that he can go out on loan again, or he's got to be sold, 325 grand wages, or the option is welcoming him back. Are they the three?
I think, Jill, to answer the first bit, I did say that he'd been, indifferent for a couple of seasons. I think we're all aware of that. You know better than me. You're obviously an avid fan, so the connection with the group and the team or the hierarchy, whichever way you look at it. I think all I was suggesting is with Carrick, he's got someone there he knows in a different way. That might change his feelings towards it, and that goes. Your feelings are a big thing in football. How you feel towards the manager, the team, the staff, the club, and often, sometimes it can be as simple as the badge. So, what I'm saying is, if he goes back in, can he reignite? Because it was a very, it seems like a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago when he was ripping it, and you, amongst, I'm sure, many other Man U fans would be lauding him for the performances. So, what I'm saying is, can he reinvigorate that? Now, what you're suggesting is different. If you feel there's an underlying thing, he cannot connect that, or cannot reconnect that situation with the fans, particularly, because fans are very important in football, then I get your point. But yeah. I think people do have short memories, and if he was to, I'll just play it out with you. If he was to go back and really start strongly for Man United and show his worth about what he was doing, I wouldn't be surprised if the people of Man United, because I've always thought their fan base was pretty fair as well, by the way, I think they would reconnect with him. So I think there's a lot on him now, whether he wants to do that and whether he does want to, go back 10 days when I know exactly what you're talking about. He looks so hungry, and his desire and his ability to drive at teams and, force the opposition when he was really on blob to almost succeed. I think there was a time for him to do that, and whether he can reinvigorate that, I don't know.
I see what you're saying with regards to Carrick, because, Carrick's brilliant with the players, and that's why he got the job permanently. But I do worry about him reconnecting with the fans, and even if Carrick is good and he can reconnect, I do worry about that part. And if he did start to play, what kind of reception
it's still early, though, Jill, for Carrick as well, by the way. It's still early. He's gone through that lovely honeymoon period. Yeah. He's definitely reinvigorated people, that's without doubt. Harry Maguire was a great example of that. But, it's going to be interesting for him as well, by the way, not just about Rashford. There's a lot of noise about Rashford. There will be people looking at Carrick.
Especially got a European football again, Jill,
and juggling that. And yeah. So it's a different ball game coming in now, I think. Starting the season.
Jill, just to remind you as well, just looking at his stats, he is 11 goals away from joining the Premier League 100 club, right?
Yeah,
which is an elite club.
It is.
And, 42 assists in 297 appearances. He's a top player, and if you are looking to compete on all fronts, you don't want to get rid of top players.
No, I appreciate your point, Joe. I appreciate what you're saying. I think I'm in the middle, and I'm not just trying to sit on the fence. I just genuinely am. I'm not sure what you're saying. I agree that the Man U fans are the only people who are going to know whether they're going to stay connected or not. But from his stats and from what he does as a footballer, then me as a manager, I'd definitely be considering him as part of my group.
Jill, it's always lovely to talk to you. I'm going to remind myself, don't annoy Jill. She might not forgive you.
She sounded wonderful.
Thank you, Jill. Let's go to Mike. He's a Man United fan. Oh, Mike.
Hi, boys. How are you doing?
Good to hear from you, pal.
Yep. I'm with Jill. He needs to go.
I knew you'd say that.
We're going to go in the same situation as we did when we brought Ronaldo back on the second terms. And even then, Paul Pogba. You put those three together, you just got bad apples.
Are we saying never go back?
Never go back.
Okay.
It was different with Ronaldo, though. He's older. He was a lot older. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he still scored about 17, 18 Premier League goals.
I was going to say, yeah. He wasn't
forget that.
Yeah, he hadn't exactly shot it, but I know your point. He wasn't maybe on blob like he was, before, obviously.
It wasn't the same when he came out and did that article with Piers and basically sorted United, and they got rid of him. It made it funny difficult for Ollie and all the rest of it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Sorry, mate. Go on.
if you're going to win the Premier League and really go for it and really put a stamp on it, the stamp should be now from the beginning. Well, I'm here, I'm the boss, I want you gone.
But
because as soon as you pay the guy that sort of money, 325 grand a week, he's got power. Players got more power now than managers. And it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, but they've got to defend footballers here, mate, right? Because, Mike, and to Majestic, what we're talking about, I've got to say, like, when they sign them a contract, everyone's buzzing, you know.
Yeah.
You've got to remember that. You know, fans are going, oh, brilliant, what a great signing, because he's on fire.
Yeah.
The reason why I got that number is because he was on fire, right? So, you know, you can't, do you get what I mean? I will defend players a bit then, because often the money thing comes back round and haunts you. But you go, well, hang on a minute. Every one of them parties signed that in good faith. So I must make that clear, because I do have to play my bit for players as well, because I'm a big fan of players. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I never really throw players under the bus. I try not to.
But this is why it's great to get your insight, because we know the problem is, and, you know, I can honestly say it, we as talkSPORT are a part of the problem, because we're reporting on things that we hear.
Yeah.
How much of it's actually
Yeah, but that's not your fault, though.
No.
It's not talkSPORT's problem, because that's the way the world is.
That's what the world is.
And clickbait rules, you know what I mean?
Correct. And the thing is as well now, there are so many more voices.
Yep.
You know, there is a million fan podcasts. Everyone's got their say. And then all of a sudden, an opinion and a perception of someone can quickly become reality. Like Marcus Rashford. Is it like you said before? You know, because we see Marcus Rashford in a Louis Vuitton fur coat at a basketball game, all of a sudden he's turned into, oh, he's awful. But this is the same geezer that was sticking up for kids and school dinners. Like, so,
yeah,
you know.
That's my point. You can't have it all. Well, you can have it always, but it gets a bit tedious.
Yeah, which one is he? Is he like, you know, got a real
I will say there's a time when some of these players could just maybe just tone it down a little bit, mate.
Yeah, just a little piece.
Because you're not a rock star at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So,
well, no, you know what it is? It's just sometimes, again, they're humans, right?
Absolutely.
And I think, you know...
how young some of them are.
And I never forget, for example, that years ago, and you know, Rio's one of the best on social media and with his YouTube channel, and he made that faux pas when he was tweeting saying, oh, Happy New Year, everyone. Remember, like, we're locked in a hotel room, and then everyone's like, mate, you're on 400 grand a week, whatever. It's just like, but he's human. He's made something. He had a human feeling at that moment.
Yeah.
He said something. It's just like, come on. Like,
yeah, no, you're right. And at the end of the day, it all becomes relative. I must explain to all the listeners, because I try and play fair when I'm ever on these shows, but it's relative in their life. Don't think they're looking at a bank account all the time.
Yeah.
Because once you get it, it's there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, and I'm not playing it down.
No.
But you know, anyone who's successful in life, why do you think billionaires keep working?
Yeah.
They don't just keep looking at the money and going on holiday every week. So they go, there's no stimulus. There's no thing that ignites me in that. So I can assure you, if Rashford can get himself going again, he'll get that feeling, and it comes back rapidly.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, all that money goes out the window again, and you start going, God, I love playing. I love me football.
Yeah.
But you just got to get that tipping point where he's got to get that desire and that love back again.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he hasn't got it. I'm just saying he needs it with Man United, let's say.
Absolutely. Loads of great messages coming in as well. Donald Showers is the name on this text. She doesn't speak for all Man United fans. Amarin was an idiot. Sean is right in saying that Carrick is different relationship. Your relationship with the manager affects how you view things. Hey boys, this is from Andy the Brummie. Just by the way, my wife just told me that Sean could talk to her all day with his oily grey and gravel voice.
Gravel for breakfast, mate, eh?
That's it. And Rashford to Arsenal. Arsenal wouldn't have him simply because of his work ethic. It's all about the collective with hard work, on and off the ball, being a team player and having a great attitude. I feel for the lad because he deserves a chance, but I don't think he'd be a good fit at all. Well, this is the thing with Arteta, you know, what he clearly had done at Arsenal. He went in there, he had, like, you know, the Aubameyangs and the Lacazettes of this world, big names, and he just went, if you're not going to comply to what we're trying to build here, get out. And that takes...
Big man, just while you were talking there, I just quickly Googled, because I forgot his age. I just wanted to be, he's 28, you know.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
28. I mean, imagine, he's got so much more left. Do you know what I mean? And we're all guilty of it. I'm 55 now, and I judge these young. They're young still. Correct. 28 is relatively young. Do you know what I mean? In the grand scheme of the world.
He's 2 years younger than Rodri.
Yeah, I know. So he's still got weight. He could even get better. He could even hit his prime because of his understanding and his professionalism.
There's another big 5-year contract in him.
Oh, all day if he wants
28, you know.
And why not at Man U? Why shouldn't it be at Man U?
Absolutely.
If he rounds himself and uses all his experiences and just finds that tipping point again when you fall back in love with your profession.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm not saying he's lost the love. I'm just saying if you rekindle that love and that burning desire, trust me, it comes back really quickly. And he could, you know, he could well go back and be a real success.
And that'd be very good for England. It'd be good for England as well. Coming up next, we'll discuss friendly results and are they important? You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. It all starts with a spin. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
Your thoughts on Vinicius Junior then, Arsenal losing out in that. Were you hopeful or were you doubtful?
Do you know what? I was a little bit in the middle, really. I thought, look, he's a player that would be certainly improve Arsenal. There's no doubt about that. He's got so much talent. But also, he's at Real Madrid, like Andy Townsend said. Why would you want to leave Real Madrid, as Andy says? But whether he wanted a different change of lifestyle and whatever, whether he wanted to go to London, I don't know. But I think what he's done, he's played the market, isn't he? So he's gone, right, we know Arsenal are interested. His agent's probably going to Real Madrid. Well, Arsenal, we're thinking about going to Arsenal, and they've panicked a little bit, probably got an unbelievable deal now, 6-year contract. And he's gone, right, okay, yeah, I'll stay then. Yeah. Done. And so he's played both sides, really, which a lot of agents do, a lot of players do as well. But I was always 50-50, really. If he had come to the club, great. But if he doesn't, it's not the end of the world.
Absolutely, you move on from it. I mean, it's absolutely dead now. He is staying at Real Madrid for 6 years, as you mentioned. But, you know, how important was that to get that idea that Arsenal were starting to flirt with world-class players, with somebody who would be a marquee signing?
You've got to do that. You've got to do that.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, you've got to do that.
They've done it. The champions got a final. You know, why wouldn't you?
And the club's in a really good position at the moment with finances and whatever. I mean, Josh Kroenke's really stepped it up another level really now and he trusts the manager Arteta to say, right, you know, we're going to really go with him and see what he needs.
Lazy in spotlight, rhyme spill. I get ill and watch the records turn like a windmill. I'm on track when I hit this. As a matter of fact, I don't miss this target. I score like a marksman. Break down and I'm sparking.
Now, Dyche can announce what this one is because I know he loves it. This is Doug Lazy, Let It Roll.
Doug Lazy.
Yeah, I know you love this one.
Let It Roll.
What tune?
Yeah.
So this is just an insight into some of the vibes that we're going to be putting on the Final Word phone-in festival playlist because lots of festivals going on today. Even on the way in today, I see lots of people heading over to Finsbury Park. I think the kind of music crew over there today.
All the Boardmasters, that's on.
Yeah, Boardmasters.
They're playing the headline.
Yeah, they are.
Boardmasters, yep.
Big shout out to anyone going to any festivals. Do let us know. I played 2 festivals yesterday. One was the Great Fate Festival in Hatfield. I was on after Dizzy Rascal.
Legend.
Yeah, Diz was there. Who was on before Dizzy?
Bonkers is my party piece.
Is it?
Bonkers, yeah.
What's doing the bars?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Imagine Dyche and karaoke giving you a bit of bonkers. And then I did House and Classics in Bushy. Which was
near Watford,
great.
yeah.
It was
Watford, yeah, cool.
at the.
I think a lot of it, because Glastonbury's off, isn't it?
Yes.
It seems to me there's been a massive amount of festivals.
Yeah, I think there's some independent ones popping up, which is
the
great.
Artists, right?
Oh yes. Do you know what?
More, isn't it?
Yesterday was great, but I'll tell you what, because it's been so hot in the UK over the summer, the dust. Honestly, I should have worn a face mask, like alternate, in like I was a raver. But it was great. So yeah, if you're at any festival this weekend, do let us know. 03717 22 3344. We're going to get Dyche to choose some bands or DJs and artists that he'd like to see on our festival lineup. Producer Ross asked me who I would have on the lineup to open up the festival. In terms of a band, I think, to get every single one going, because sometimes, you go to a festival and I don't really know this, I don't really know that. I would put the Killers on first, just to open up.
It's a great pull, isn't it?
Just straight away.
It's a great pull.
Because it's just all the big party anthems.
Do you know what, I've told this story, so I don't want to bore our listeners, but the best I saw it, the first time I went to Glastonbury, just because it was a 1 o'clock slot in the afternoon, boiling up, first day of the bands, everyone's a bit like, whoa, the night before, the Hives.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they were awesome, because it's 1 o'clock night, they played it like it was like their biggest gig in their life ever. Like high octane, fantastic. Honestly,
Crazy Swedes.
I've seen them. But they're great, and his banter is amazing.
I know. Hate to say,
brilliant, mate. So there's a banger just to start it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So give us your inputs as well, because of course you are our final word listeners. You're the ones coming to the festival. Who would you like to see? 03717 22 3344 is the number. We're talking about Marcus Rashford and about him, possibly going back to Man United. He's got a squad number now. Apparently he's joined them on tour in Ireland. Man United fans, call us on 03717 22 3344. Another interesting one I've seen over the weekend, before I talk about pre-season friendlies, is the rumour of Dele Alli going to West Ham. Now, prime Dele Alli at Spurs was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And even now, if I pulled up his stats, they still just look so good.
I obviously was at Everton when he went through, when he came out, said what he had to say about his life.
Yeah.
And I think it was very rewarding for him as a person, which is important, of course, because as you mentioned earlier, they are human, by the way. And then he was so close to getting fit, and he got the same injury again. I mean, I was devastated for him, and everyone at Everton was.
Yeah.
He was super fit, he was working super hard, and he just did his groin again, and we couldn't believe it. Then I saw him, I popped up, believe it or not, did an FA trip over in Como.
Oh, yeah.
Says Fabregas. With Big Carlton Cole, who was brilliant, great fun. I had a great laugh with him. Jack Cork, who's the next player, and Phil Jones. And it was like a little private little FA sort of group. Cess was brilliant as well, but I was really impressed by what he was doing, really impressed. And, these links across these people, in different ways are coming. I've lost my train of thought. Who were we on about? Dele. So Dele was there. So I couldn't believe it. Yeah, he was training with Cess. So I walked through and I was like, oh goodness, I hadn't seen him. Give him a big hug and that. He looked amazing, looked fresh, and he looked really at it. And he just can't quite rekindle. I would love to see him come through it. I really would, because what a player. I mean, I remember being a kid at Tottenham, MK Dons.
MK Dons, yeah.
Everyone wanted him, by the way, but to be fair, Tottenham stuck their neck out and went 5 million at the time.
Yeah.
It's a lot, by the way. It was a lot then.
Yeah.
Forget that now, it feels like.
5 million, and we loaned him back for a season, and then we had him.
Yeah, and he was unbelievable. And he never looked back, and then just lost his way, and then the rest is history. But I'd love to see him rekindle it, wherever he lands.
Well, that's the thing for me as a Spurs fan, just because with the love we have for him, even if it was like West Ham, go there, go and smash it.
Do you remember for a couple of seasons under Poch, he was unbelievable.
I know. It's funny though.
Trips on big mates, trips, you say, what a player. Yeah. You had him running off the back of Harry Kane and stuff like that, breaking the back line.
And he arrived to the box late so well.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was going to talk about him because I've seen the rumours come up. And then a friend of mine, I'll show you this, Dyche, sends me a picture.
Is it by magic?
Is it by magic? He's in Marbella.
So he's not training with Man U.
He's not West Ham.
Unless they're on a training camp.
I did say to her, I said, does he want to come and talk sport and speak to me and Dyche?
He looks well, mind you.
He does look good.
But he always looks well, to be fair.
But yeah, let's see. I wonder if there's anything in that. And West Ham fans, would you have Dele Alli at your club? They had a good result yesterday, West Ham. A result that's needed.
Exactly. Get the ball rolling. Yeah.
So, pre-season friendlies. There's been a lot this weekend. I want to ask the fans out there: do you
so many
care?
got a list.
I know there's a
list. I know.
Do people care about pre-season friendly results? Because Arsenal lost today against Borussia Dortmund, but the game still went to penalties. How?
Well, we need to find out. I'm sure during the show someone will tell us how.
I know, but that's like, when I do my son's training and they're like, can we do pens?
Yeah, just for bants.
Just bants, pen ban. Liverpool, they lost to Monaco. Man City beat Atletico Madrid 3-1. Spurs, they drew with Getafe. I saw Tonali having an absolute almost scrap with someone there. Like, it was a friendly, so it's getting heated. So people are like, is this the kind?
I think we started in the show and I gave an insight that, it used to be that everyone including fans, understood what they were for.
Yeah.
And no, don't get me wrong, everyone wanted a good pre-season. Everyone wants your team to have a good pre-season. They want to, see scoring goals and see people playing well. But deep down, the majority of fans are going, well, we get it. And then now, it's like big games.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, big games. I remember getting beat in pre-season when I was at Everton. We played at Salford. We had loads of injury. Only had about 7 first-team players, so we played them in the first half. And the kids played the second half. I think we got beat 1-0 or something. Getting battered. I was getting absolutely battered. The fans, and I was like, come on, we're trying to get them fit. You can see we got loads of injuries, and that's not against the Everton fans, by the way. I'm just saying that was surprised me. That was when football, I think, was beginning to change, and the pressure was coming on as soon as the first ball was kicked. And now in one way, I must say though, it sort of does get your game ready quicker because players are thinking, I got to perform. It's not just getting a run out now. I better deliver. You know what I mean? Because the pressure's heightening up. But when you think you've got a big season coming, deep down, I must tell you, from manager, it's getting through injury free.
Correct.
Get your squad for injury free, get them fit, and get them fit for a season. I used to call it, it wasn't just fit, it was full of energy and full of fitness. So you get to the first game of the season, you've got loads of injuries and they're knackered. You equally don't want to get there and they're unfit.
Yeah.
Finding that balance.
Balance is...
Yeah, and the mental balance, you see. Some players, mate, whatever fans think, they're just game players. Pre-season, it's like they subliminally know. It's like they go, I've really got to do this. But you get the real stuff start and they go bang and they ignite. And they're the ones you really want, to be honest. You want them players.
I know, even like, for example, and it's completely different, but like when you play 5-a-side, and someone drops out and it's 5 versus 4, I can never take that game serious then because I know that it's not correct. So like pre-season, they're going, it's not the real thing, is it? So
no, I know. And whatever people say, it just some players, by the way, it doesn't affect you. They just play. They just get on and play. They play hard, and it's just part of their makeup. And they need it. Some players, by the way. So I was an average player, but I needed to be on it. So pre-season for me was I played hard all the time because I thought, right, I need to be game ready. Some players don't. I used to play with players who, they'd almost duck a game here and there, and they get to the season, and when the real whistle blew, they were on it.
Yeah.
But they just couldn't get the buzz of playing it when it was like a fake game, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like you said that word, fake game.
Well, it is, because psychologically this is. You're going, we ain't going to get anything from this game other than getting fit. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
And sharp, of course. And that's where it gets a bit weird. Now, fans don't think like that and understand why. But the players are going, some players are just going, just get me to the season and then I'll turn up.
Yeah.
And it's not right or wrong. It's just the way the nature of the beast is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, if you're going to work and it's just like, it's not proper work. It's kind of like...
But I love bands, right? I've seen bands do, when they do their sound check.
Yeah.
It's different, isn't it? They're not singing like, bang, you're having this. You know what I mean? They're just getting ready. They're just sort of feeling their way through it.
Do you know what one of my biggest flexes is to say what I saw in soundcheck once?
Go on.
Liam Gallagher at Wembley. When he did, I think it was the Anthony Joshua fight. He performed that. So I was on my own with a couple of friends watching Liam Gallagher soundcheck and sing 3 songs of that. This is amazing.
Oh, you know what? Nowhere near as good as that. But I met Noel once before a little festival in Nottingham called Splendour. Johnny Owen had got me introduced to him.
Yeah.
I went in his kind of wagon, before.
Yeah.
And he was terrific value, great company. And he gave me a name check on one of the songs.
Uh-huh.
And my daughter went, "Oh my God, Dad, I was just giving you a
That is seriously, that's my daughter.
I was buzzing. He knows it as well. He knows it because I've got to know him a little bit since, and he knows it.
That is incredible.
I was buzzing. Adrian, he did it for me as well.
He's getting older than shouts.
No, but years of getting to know these guys.
Hi, Lee from Wrexham, Man United fan. I would welcome Rashford back 100%. It would be like a new signing. So
there you go. Yeah, it's the alter side, isn't it?
Yeah. The fact that Rashford is back at United is a travesty. That man should never play for them again. Absolutely disgraceful attitude. Jill would rather have Dele Alli than Rashford. Andrew Neal said, Madge, do you ever sleep? You're non-stop DJing. I'd like to see Ultra Beat great in the noughties.
Excuse me.
Andrew Neal there. So people getting involved as well. The tunes they want to hear. Jill would like to hear Baseman Jack's Where's Your Head At? That's a great tune, by the way.
Yeah, it's a tune, yeah.
Said a whole...
You said that Mike Whelan, was he not the ultra beat?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were telling me that just a minute. That's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, they brought that up. Yeah.
Pretty Green Eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable stuff. 03717 223344 is the number to call us. The phone lines are open if you want to have your say on pre-season friendly. Speaking of Man United, they drew with PSG yesterday. I see PSG last Wednesday. They played Mallorca. So I was over in Mallorca and I took my son to see Mallorca against PSG. It's the first time he's been like in the stadium in another country and loving it. And we managed to get these amazing tickets where you in like by the tunnel. Luis Enrique waved at him. It's the best day of my son's life. He's only 9.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's like magical, isn't it?
Honestly, he's like...
I know. Do you know, I'm going to tell you something, because I'm going to hear a thing that really annoys me. When players don't stop for kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because that moment you've just said, the reason is that you've just reminded me, when you're 9, right, they are like demigods.
Oh, absolutely.
Look and you go like, do you know what I mean? You're like, I remember I was a Kettering Town fan, but during pre-season, they'd play like West Brom and all that. You know, you see like Brian Robson, that you'd be like, oh my goodness.
It is that.
And when you're kids, you know, I don't like, football has got to stop. You know, just get used to it. It's part of your life. Just get used to it.
100%.
Yeah, you got to do that.
It doesn't take a second.
Even if it is just a little smile like that, just a little wave or a smile. Yeah, it's all it takes. It doesn't always have to be a big thing.
No, absolutely. I tell you what, that's a great topic of conversation as well. Is like, who have you seen as a footballer or a manager or whatever that was an oh my god moment? Mine was R9 Ronaldo. When I see him in the flesh and got a little handshake, I was like, when I used to watch him as a kid, for me that's still one of the best players I've ever watched. I was just like,
my biggest regrets was being at the Ballon d'Or and in the house was Messi, Ronaldo, and Maradona.
Oh wow!
And I didn't go and get a selfie. I never do selfies.
No,
right?
I
professionally,
Yeah, I understand.
I just couldn't. And I look back, I'm gutted though. I'm gutted I didn't go over and say, look, I was a security there because I'm Premier League man. You're probably going to get one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, mate, I couldn't believe it.
I know. And then you look back, why didn't
I know. You're like, oh, you ginger donut.
I'm liking this one. It says, hey to Imagine Dyche from Outside Lands Festival in Golden Gate Park, San Francisco. Big up to Charlie XCX for the kids and the modest here. Mouse for the old schoolers. So Greg's getting involved with what he wants to see. Charlie XCX for the kids. I like that. She does put on a good show. Lots of energy.
Absolutely.
Her Glasgow performance was pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, as you mentioned, no Glasgow this year.
No.
So,
I'm booked in for next year though.
But I tell you what,
I'm booked in.
What a touch they would have had with the weather this year. The one year they don't do it, it is the hottest summer we've had since like 1974.
You know, I've been there twice, and I think this is right. Yeah, both times there was a tiny touch of rain the second time. The first time was Scorchio. The second time there was just a touch of rain. So I've been very fortunate because people have told me about the
Mudfest.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
I'm
pretty,
not sure about
pretty
that. Mike Descala, by the way, I meant was Ultra B, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I said Mike Whelan, Mike Descala.
you mixed them together.
I know, Dave Whelan and Mike.
You created the super camel fats.
Yeah.
03717 223344. We want to hear from you guys about your music at our Final Word Festival. Also, friendlies. This goes to all of the clubs out there and all the fans. Do you care about pre-season friendlies? Because lots of people online seem to.
I genuinely love to know. I hope people do message.
Right, Dyche wants to hear from you.
I know, I really do.
As fans, do you care about pre-season friendly
I
results?
monitor it, but I'd love people to just connect with us. And
get those calls in 03717 223344.
No smoke without fire. Of course not. He is interested in the Arsenal project.
Arsenal going
if he's to leave Real Madrid.
Arsenal going for Vinny Jr. is like me sending Rihanna a message on Instagram saying that I'd love you to come to the Bull Ring in Birmingham. I want to take you around Birmingham on a date. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, he's not leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal. One league title in over 20 years. Can't win a Champions League in their whole existence. He's not going to come to Arsenal. He's used Arsenal to get an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound a year, and he's going to sign a new contract at Arsenal. Sign a new contract at Real Madrid. Simple. What he's doing. Arsenal have been used.
Did you ever shoot your shot with Rihanna, though? Did you ever do it?
I might have. Yeah, I might have. That's private business. I might have.
But the point is, we know that Arsenal have made a go at Vinicius Junior, so they've tried.
And maybe I tried, and it didn't work out.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for Arsenal, is it?
You make me cringe.
No, one league title in over 20 years. Never won the Champions League. Can't sit at the big table of the Champions League winning clubs like Villa, Nottingham Forest, Celtic. And you think you're going to go and sign Vinny Jr., the fan base that Vinny Jr.'s got in South America because he plays for Real Madrid.
It's not.
Rodri's doing everything he can probably to get out of Manchester City to go to Real Madrid. Haaland will go to Real Madrid at some point in his career.
It's not dead yet.
Good evening, you're listening to the Final Word phone in here on talkSPORT with me, Majestic. No parts this week, but in Super Sub, Mr. Sean Dyche joins us on the show, and we're having a very good time talking all things football and music. Two of my absolute loves. So this is not work on a Sunday afternoon, and we get to be speaking to you wonderful people out there. And of course, we can't do this show without you, and we've been asking about pre-season results, Marcus Rashford, and loads more. If you want to bring a topic of conversation to the table, you're more than welcome to. I love when people go, mate, you keep talking about this or that. I'm like, you tell us what to talk about. 03 717 223344. Let's go over to the phone lines. Taka, the Man United fan, joins us. Good evening.
Gentlemen, good evening. Great show. Thank you very much for having me.
You are very welcome.
I've got a few points, so hopefully you can be patient with me. Mr. Dyche, good evening. It's a pleasure to speak to you. You did bring up a very good point, which I wanted to bring to the forefront here. So I am for Rashford to stay. We forget as Man United fans or as football fans that, yes, the player can be a fan of the club, but also is there for work. It's a business. You know, clearly if he wanted to leave, like really wanted to leave, he would have pushed himself out of the club. But because maybe for whatever reason that we are not privileged to, he said, look, let me go on alone, let me refresh my mind. And he's been out for 2 clubs, and for whatever reason, they've not taken him. Fair enough. He's still employed by Manchester United. We still have his wages, whether we like it or not. We all wake up, do a 9 to 5 for wages. They are privileged to earn more than the average person, fair enough, but that's not the club's fault or the player's fault. It's the way the football industry works. This guy has gone to 2 different clubs, has seen 2 different scenarios. He might be back thinking, you know what, like Mr. Dyche said, I'm now refreshed. Where I was in United is much better to where I've been. Let me put my head together, put my socks up, and let's bring the business. So I am definitely for him to stay, because if you look at it, if he was that bad, why are other top clubs, you know, Tottenham for example, with an eye for him? Because they know that there's a talent in there somewhere. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of Carrick putting him an arm around his shoulder if he needs one, or even his captain Bruno saying, "Look, let's play football." And before you know it, us fans will be up and, you know, excited when he's banging in goals left, right, and centre against City, against Liverpool, and them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Okay, well let me add a bit of meat on the bone as well. So don't forget, for giving you the inside view, when these players go on loan, don't forget there'd have been, I would imagine, there'd have been a considerable package put together for them to go out there. So, you know, don't forget that Man United cover their costs about these players when they're not with the club. So I get the idea of questioning when he was with the club. Jill said that, you know, didn't feel he was trying for the club, didn't put the effort in, and that sort of feeling. What I'm saying is, but when they go away on these loan deals, they still get recompensed. You know, usually very good packages. It might be loan fees, certainly wage deals and stuff like that. So if you get what I mean, while he's away, he's not actually putting any particular burden on the club. So then when he comes back, I just think give him a chance, me. Look, I'm bound to say that. I'm a manager, and I like it when people come through the fire and they get on with it and they end up being big-name players. I mean, last season, is it fair to say, you're obviously a Man U fan, and Jill might message back in, but, you know, with Casemiro, do you not think he was like that? You know, like Casemiro, they all lost the love for Casemiro, said he can't run, he can't do this, he can't do that. And by the end of the season, everyone's saying, fantastic, all cheering him off, you know, and clapping him off. You know what I mean? Because it's very formula-related, you know what I mean?
And this is the thing, you know, there were a lot of people at Manchester United at the time under Ruben Amorim who weren't happy, who had fallouts with him.
I couldn't agree more.
And again, you look at the resurgence of Mainu. Like, we saw a young player there coming through United who was, you know, going to be the next best thing. He completely stifled his career at that point in time. And then Carrick's come in the fold, brought him in, looks $1 million again. And, you know, managed to get into the England squad again with Carrick being the manager. So, surely, it's just Carrick having a moment with Marcus Rashford and seeing what he can do and having those conversations.
I think so.
You need to look at him.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I know from fans' point, I get it. It's difficult.
Great call, by the way, Tucker. Thank you.
Yeah, when they feel like there's not that connection left that there once was, but it can re-arrive very quickly. I just think that with Carrick there, you know, there'll be a different respect level, there'll be a different feeling. Well, there obviously is already. You know, I think we all saw that at the end of last season.
Yeah.
The camp in general. And he might just slip back in hand in glove, you know, and go back in and everyone will go, what was the fuss about?
Yeah.
You don't know, you know what I mean? We'll have to wait and see. But I would say, give him a chance, me, personally, I would say. And so as a manager, I'd be going, look, come back in, enjoy your football. That'd be my message to him, I swear. I'd just go, look, get back to enjoying your football and let's see where we go from there. You know, too much noise around it all. Just get back to the simplicity of coming in, training, enjoying it, getting out on the pitch, wearing the shirt with pride, and let's just get it back to basics. Let's just strip it back down to you as a footballer. Not all the noise around it, just you delivering.
Would you say things like, you know, if you Carrick, like, you know, all the noise from the press and that, block that out because I've got your back. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
those
not
type
easy,
of things.
but you know what I would say in defence to our callers in a way, the ones that were questioning, you know, all of this side of Rashford. He is 28, which is not that old, but it is in football years. So don't get me wrong, he does know the noise. So you could argue he should be going to himself in his self-talk, in his own psyche, going, hang on a minute, let me push all this away. You know, I'm old enough and wise enough now. But sometimes, big man, you know yourself, you just need someone to push you right in the right direction again. You know what I mean? Sometimes we all get lost in it.
You need
know,
someone
the
to
noise.
check you.
Yeah, give you a check, and just go, listen.
Come on.
Call your jets. Let's, you know, I used to say to the players, find a ball, get a ball, stay cool. You know, when you're a kid, you just bouncing up the words. You know, the basics. You know, just get back to basics. Push all the noise away. Don't worry about all that. So, you know, there's a double-edged sword a little bit because he should know himself with his experience. But equally, now and again, someone just needs to sit you down and just remind yourself of the absolute basics of what it is. And usually, it's get back to enjoying your football.
Yeah. Let's go to Jason. He's a Liverpool fan. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, Marge. Evening, Sean.
Evening.
Welcome to the show, sir. We appreciate your
How are
call.
you, fellas?
Yeah,
Good,
very
thank
well.
you.
Listen, as I said, Sunday afternoon, we're talking football and music. Life's good.
Absolutely.
Absolutely brilliant. I've been listening to talkSPORT since 7 o'clock this morning.
That's how we like it.
Good effort.
And I love the fact, Sean, I've got to say, I absolutely love listening to you on the radio. You should be
thanks,
on all
mate.
the time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely quality. Right, Rashford, I have this dilemma, and it's a simple thing. I think far too many players are called world class when they're not. They can be good. They can be really good, but they ain't world class. Now, being a Liverpool supporter, my first top as a 7-year-old in the late 70s, there's no way he'd be coming to my club. And I hope you can understand why.
Who would you throw in the hat as a world class? I'm just interested, you know, what you know, from your point of view, a Liverpool fan, for example.
Oh, Dalglish, Souness, Hansen.
Yeah, who at the current era? I agree with you, by the way, but I'm just wondering.
In the current Liverpool...
Well, you know, the last 10 years, I mean, Stevie G bounces off the page for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's in my dream 11 for Liverpool. Souness, Gerrard and Dalglish on a 4-3-3.
You've even thrown the tactical blueprint out to us.
I like it a lot.
Loving that.
And then I'm over and ahhing on the right side, Sean, on a front three, of whether I would have Salah or Keegan with Rushy up top and John Barnes on the left.
God, no bad choices, then.
Right. He's got a good pool of players to choose from.
What a player.
Yeah, but no,
no, I get your point. I get your point, mate.
Aside from the wage demands, and the point I'm making about the world class thing is that so many players get given that, or they get called legends. To me, there's got to be consistency, longevity, and you are one of the best that most of the top clubs in the world would take you at a heartbeat.
No, I think that's fair, mate. I agree with you. I mean, players have spells of being world class, but the difference between being a spells and being a world class player is consistency for me. Doing it all the time, season after season after season, relentlessly.
Season after now, you understand my dilemma on Salah or Keegan.
Yeah. True enough.
I have a soft spot for Keegan. And he, obviously, even though it was after he left us and went to Hamburg, Ballon d'Or winner, you're kind of like, in this day and age, in a 4-3-3, can you imagine what that team would have been like?
Oh, yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, people often say about the old players, they wouldn't lace the modern players' boots. Nonsense. I'm old enough to see some of them players, and they were unbelievable players. Playing on awful pitches, getting booted all over the place. You know what I mean? Dribbling through mud. Unbelievable players.
Absolutely. Brilliant. Cool. Thank you very much, Jason.
Cheers, mate.
We got loads of messages coming through with your musical choices. Some of the players that you've met and gone, oh my goodness. Good evening, gents. Great show. Love hearing Sean and my fellow Spurs fan on the airways. Regarding your question about gobsmacking moments, my hero has and always will be Glenn Hoddle. He is without question the most talented and underrated footballer this country has ever produced. And when I was about 10 years old, Spurs had just signed Ozzy Ardinez. I ran into the pitch at the end of the game, and that wasn't uncommon back then.
No.
And walked off holding both Glenn and Ozzy's hands. And in 1986, it was Ozzy Spurs' testimonial on Spurs had a midfield of Glenn, Ozzy, and Diego Maradona.
I don't think Glenn was underrated, by the way. I think he was just in a time that he was a future player playing at a different time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So imagine him now.
Oh.
God, just spraying it around all over the place. Either foot, cannons on either foot. Like every pass you can think of, short, long, it didn't matter to him.
I was at Glastonbury a couple of year ago, and Dyche was kind enough to take a selfie with me. He looked great, Prada bucket hat, linen shirt. What I want to know is whether or not he roughed it with us, the rest of us, or was fancy glamping situation.
No, I got to be honest, I was glamping. I'm going to, even though he hates this, Melvin Ben, who's part of, he owns Festival Republic, and that, he's a brilliant fella. He kindly got me one of his Winnebagos right in the middle of it. I hope he takes, he never likes all that, but what a guy. Honestly, what an incredibly generous man. And I had a great time. Then the people are amazing, I must say that. I'm not just saying it, I swear to you. I never had one bad thing. Just people joining in, a bit of banter, which I don't mind anyway. Great people all the time. Yeah. Every bit of the gig that I went to, people were amazing.
Love that.
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Keep your calls coming in to us. We want to hear from you if you've been to a friendly game or if you care about friendly results so far. 03717 223344 is the number to call. You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. It all starts with a spin. 18 plus, gamblerware.org.
Barcelona are now leading the race to sign Rodri from Manchester City, notwithstanding the loss that would be to City in a new era under Enzo Maresca. What's the latest on that? And is it the case that Real Madrid have dropped the ball here? Because it seemed to be, reading reports, that Real Madrid were in the driving seat with this one.
Yeah, Rodri wanted Real Madrid earlier in the window, and Florentino Perez hadn't decided what kind of midfielder he was going for, which is why several names were linked, including Enzo Fernandez, and Real had to issue a statement saying we've had no contact with Enzo Fernandez. Jose Mourinho came in. Finally, they got the mandate from Perez to start negotiating financially, but Barca have basically hijacked this, although some sources say Barca were there even before the window opened, and it was Real that kind of steamrolled in. And ultimately, Rodri, for family reasons, wants to go to Spain, but we've got a fascinating scenario now. Man City want to keep. Pep Guardiola never used to stand in players' ways, especially senior ones that had been long-serving and loyal to the club. But Enzo Maresca's new, and of course, if it's his say, he'll go to his board and say, keep him. If he doesn't renew, we'll let him leave on a free transfer in 2027. And now Barca are going to accelerate and bid, and they have full player buy-in. So Rodri wants Barcelona over Real Madrid, and I think there's a strong chance that this one happens. Man City are going to add another midfielder. Ayoub Boadi advanced talks. They've got other targets as well. Elliot Anderson has already come in. And in essence, it's whether City say Rodri deserves this move and follow that Pep Guardiola approach, or if they double down and say Enzo Maresca doesn't want him to leave, so we're going to make it really difficult.
always good to let Kasabian play.
That's a great shout, you know, and watch him. If you've never seen that live, you've got to. You've got to just witness that at the end of a gig when it goes off.
Oh, great band. So many tunes.
Yeah, Bournemouth tonight, like I said.
Yeah.
Mate, I can't get down this miles away. But
it's far.
I saw him the week at Finsbury.
Oh, yeah.
And Wolf Alice were great as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Top band as well. If you are watching us on YouTube Smart TV, I do apologise. I'm trying to sneak in my lunch.
Little snack.
Yeah, didn't even realise we were back. This is the final word final here on talkSPORT with me, Majestic, and Premier League gaffer Sean Dyche. In for Pards. The gaffer, I like to call Pards.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I call him the gaffer.
Certainly Spurs.
Yeah, he really has. Speaking of Spurs, you know he played for Spurs, didn't he?
I don't remember him playing for Spurs. I remember him Charlton, obviously. Yeah. He's part of that brilliant team.
Yeah, you know he played for Spurs. Doesn't have a legacy number. This is our ongoing joke. I'm fighting for his legacy number. I'm like, Spurs, do the right thing. He paid for us.
Do you know, I didn't know about that legacy number.
Yeah.
I only saw that. I saw the thing that there was a big thing about Romero, and it was saying, say 847 legacy number.
You know, I think it was a
good idea. It's a good idea.
I think it was the former kitman Steve Jukes who come up with the idea.
Right now,
so big up Jukesy.
Yeah, really good.
Absolute legend. Right, we are taking your calls on 03717223344. We're also asking you about who you would have on our festival lineup. We put the Killers and Kasabian straight away. Yeah. They're in. I was
going to throw the Foo Fighters in as well.
Oh mate,
unbelievable!
What a band.
Do you know he's another one? You know, like, and I know you love your music, not just DJ, but he plays gigs like it's his last gig ever.
Yeah,
I've seen him a few times, and it's always the high level, you know, delivering everything like his heart and soul into it, and I admire that. I think it's brilliant.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen as well is Dave Grohl explaining when Chris Walken was like presenting Saturday Night Live, and he goes to see Dave Grohl, and he's training, he's like, so. Is it Foo Fighters or where's the emphasis? You know how Walken. So he told him like it's on the Fighters. So it's like, ladies and gentlemen, Foo Fighters.
Oh, that's good, brother. That's a good impression right there.
Foo Fighters.
That is
so funny. I was
Mr.
like,
Walken.
I can, yeah.
He's got that funny. He enunciates the wrong bits of words.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
that's good. You've obviously done a bit with that.
All of a sudden, he just goes out and knows like it's crazy. Why?
I love Foo Fighters with Rick Astley goes on stage.
That's great.
Yeah, that is a brilliant. If anyone's got time, just get it up on Google because that is a brilliant clip or YouTube or whatever. It's brilliant.
Got a message from my namesake, Kevin, because that, of course, is my real name. Snow Patrol. They're a great band.
Awesome. Another one, yeah.
Run and the one Chasing Cars.
Yeah.
It's an anthem. Yeah. That always reminds me.
Emotional one. I'm more into the let's have it off sort of vibe.
No, but that's at the end and you're crying.
Oh, true, yeah.
And you're holding someone. That always reminds me, again, talking about earning stripes, yeah? I used to work in Kavos in Corfu.
Oh, that used to get lively.
Yeah. I was an MC.
Quiet one.
I was an MC in a bar in Kavos, right?
Oh, I like it.
And I never forget, when that tune come out, I was sat by a fire on the beach at like 6 in the morning, and that's playing. And I'll never forget. That's what music does. It just embeds memories for life. So Snow Patrol, yeah, they go on our lineup, 100%. Let's go over to George, a Man United fan. He joins the final word. Good evening, George.
Yeah, good evening. Hi, guys.
How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Good stuff.
Regarding Mr. Rashford.
Yeah, go on, crack on.
Has he put out a statement? Because I think that he needs to put out a statement that he's back at United and that he had problems with Amorim, and then once he puts in a good shift, and then we'll all be back on his side, because then it won't be just about the money. The money is not his problem. The money is United's problem. They offered him that. That's fine. But now that he's back, and I'm sure he's had offers from other clubs, but for whatever reason, he's decided to stay. He's a Manchester boy, and he wants to play again. So I think he needs to put out a statement saying that he's back 100%.
The thing is, mate, that causes more noise. So if you're the manager and you're the PR team, they go, look, why don't you just slide back in and get on with it? You know, for me, it'd be just do your work and show your worth in what you do. You know, so I get your idea to sort of clean any loose ends up, but if you get what I mean, it just causes another kind of negative story, because what'll happen is then people will start taking words at you, get on with it. You know, part of me goes, the Amorim thing was one of them things, right? It didn't quite work out for any party, so therefore park that, we've moved forward, you know what I mean? So sometimes, if you're asking my opinion, which I'm giving you, regardless, is that I would say, for me, it'd be, just slip back into the business. Let's just calm the noise down and get back out on the pitch.
I agree, that's one possibility as well, but put in a good shift and that's it, and get everyone back on your side. But what's the reception he's going to get from that first game?
Yeah, but that's being a footballer. That's being a footballer, mate. You know, like You know, we all remember the days of David Beckham, you know, up in England, and the effigies of you hanging outside of pubs, for goodness sake. You look back now, and that is absolutely horrendous. And yet the next season, did you know he's Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just went, right, I'm having this. And unbelievable mental strength. So, you know, there's times that are way worse than these times, you know, what players went through, but Beckham being a really obvious one. So if you get what I mean, I just think you just get on with it. And if you get a bit of stick, right, well, show them your worth. You know, go right, I'm having it off for you. You know, I've got the shirt on, so I'm going to show you what I'm about and show you what I'm worth. So I just think that's more powerful than words and bringing out statements, personally.
Yeah, great call, by the way. Thank you, George. He mentioned the David Beckham thing, and I was thinking about that the other day, right? The stick he got.
It was horrendous.
It was so bad. And
you know what? It was horrendous.
Yeah, you look back now, because especially in the documentary.
They were dark days when you look back, you know. At the time, I don't know why you sort of just got on with it, and he got on with it, but they're dark days, mate. They were.
But I remind the fans that did that to David Beckham that when you see that kid who's gone to Chelsea, Barco, who the one Jude Bellingham gave a little slap to, you best have the same energy for him that you had for David Beckham, and Enzo Fernandez, and all them boys, early old years.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's the enemy.
Yeah.
We did that to our own boy.
Yeah, I know.
So, Sir David Beckham, we do apologise on behalf of the
I agree, because he went on, I mean, as he would, but mentally, I always use him, he's mentally the toughest player I've ever seen, and I don't know him. I've met him, but I don't know him.
Yeah.
But from a distance,
Correct.
He's mentally the toughest footballer I've ever seen. To handle what he's handled through his career. You know, things like, if you remember, I'm going to wax lyrical for a minute if you don't mind.
No, please do.
Well, because you remember he was at LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
In his closed season, he went to Milan and carried on playing.
Yeah.
His closed season. Most players go, I'm going on holiday for 10 weeks or whatever. He went, no, I'll go on loan and I'll go and play again.
Yeah, and then he went training with Arsenal, training with Tottenham.
Unbelievable.
I've seen him in the Tottenham kit. I liked it. I was like, if only.
I know.
He looked good. He looked good.
He looks good in anything, mate. Don't worry about that.
He really does. But like you said, that mental strength, and again for me, in terms of like an individual performance, England were woeful against Greece trying to win that qualifier, and it was him.
Oh my goodness.
He was like a man possessed.
I think, you know what? I think we could double check this. I'm sure someone will text. You know what? I think that's the highest amount of yardage ever from an England player.
Really?
I think it's physically the highest amount of yardage, sprint distance, high speed running, and distance covered. I think that's right. That's ever been performed by an England player. I think that's right. Someone will text in, or I could find out from someone, but that's worth knowing. Andy scored that amazing free kick and almost carried the team.
Yeah.
He almost carried the team to win that game.
I'll never forget that.
Unreal.
And again,
probably one of the best individual performances I think I've probably ever seen.
And again, the mental strength of him going, I let everyone down, I'm not going to do it again. And then when he scored the penalty in the World Cup against Argentina, the atonement was beautiful. And just seeing him kiss it, you know.
Yeah.
And again, that's why he is now Sir David Beckham. And
absolutely, yeah.
There is always this absolute nonsense around him where people go, he wasn't world class.
I know.
I'm like, the man got into the Real Madrid team.
And every team he went to delivered.
Yeah. But he was in that Real Madrid team.
That one.
That one.
I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. 03717222344. We've already got them. I love it. Someone's shut up about Spuds. I get his Spurs. We're not even talking about Spurs. What programme are you listening to?
She did mention them once.
Yeah, I said David Beckham trained with us. But he also trained with Arsenal. Deary me. Hi, Madge. Heard your Cavos reference. I did a mini stint DJing UK Garage there. Did you do Crash Bandicoot? Era was 2000-ish. Cheers, and great shows from Christian. Yes, Christian, that was the bar I was referred to.
I love all that nostalgia for stuff, mate. You know, from my joke, because I'm a bit older than you, but I love all that, you know, Cavos and all that era.
Mate, Crash Bar and Cavos, that's where I was emceeing.
What was the one in Greece you used to go to?
Ayia Napa.
Ayia Napa. Yeah, everyone was on that one, weren't they? Do you remember?
Well, that was the point, you know, I think it was the late 90s, the UK Garage explosion. You had all of the footballers at that time going to Napa, and a lot of my UK Garage family friends, MC Kai, MC Creed, Spoonie, the legends of the scene, you know, they talk about playing the likes of Frank Lampard, Rio Ferdinand, Joe Cole, etc. on the beach of Nissi Beach.
That's right, yeah.
Playing football against them.
Yeah, keepy-ups and all that.
Yeah, I was just great stories.
And all that. Yeah,
great stories. 03717223344. We want to hear from you guys about your stories. The Rashford debate seems to go on. I like, you know, there's some Man United fans that want him back. I think Sean's really given a great insight in terms of how the manager feels in this instance. Let's not make noise. Let's get on with it. Come back in the fold. Get you playing. And all of a sudden, it takes a great performance, a great game to go, you're home. But this is the next question I'm going to ask you. When has a player gone away and come back and it really worked out? Have we seen that? Because, again, people already mentioned Ronaldo. And what I often find is people forget, actually, the second stint, for example, at Ronaldo, he scored a load of goals.
Yeah.
Like, he sort of like, and then people go, when Gareth Bale came back to Spurs, and they forget it was during the era when people weren't allowed in the stands. He scored a load of goals. He got us into the Europa League on the last day of the season against Leicester. I think he scored like 14 goals for us.
It's a good question you asked, though.
Yeah.
About people going back.
Who did you think of anyone?
I will say it's slightly different because it's a loan.
Yeah.
Loan is slightly different than moving actually.
Yeah, and then coming back.
Yeah. So I think it's slightly different. More favourable, I would say, to go on loan and come back.
Yeah, 100%.
People sometimes forget when you're away how good you were.
Yeah.
So he might come back, splash it on the scene, and everyone goes, oh, he's a proper player.
Yeah,
you know
exactly that. So it's time for you to be the Fantasy Festival promoter. Which artist do you want to be on the Final Word Festival stage tonight? Send us a WhatsApp message on 0371722 334. Text us on 81089. You're listening to the Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. It all starts with a spin. 18 plus. Gamble@wear.org.
I anticipate Arsenal to absolutely go again and just be as good as they've been this season.
Mm.
The key element for me on the title this year is Rodri. If Rodri's a Manchester City player throughout the whole course of the season, Manchester City will win the league.
That's a shouting off, that is, isn't it?
Do you disagree? If Manchester City lose Rodri and he goes to Real Madrid, they will not win the league.
I know what you're saying, but I look at it as well from because Anderson's coming, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
He's not Rodri.
I know he's not Rodri.
But he'll benefit from playing alongside him.
Yeah, that would happen.
But if you leave him on his own in there, I think you've got carnage.
I do know what you're saying, but I think there's more of a factor that Maresca might not be up for it either. You don't know yet.
I think he's up for it.
You reckon he's up for it?
I think he's up for it.
We'll see.
He knows that club. He's been at that club. He understands how that club
You're
works.
talking like a real Manchester City supporter.
He went to Chelsea. He did.
Are you Blackburn? You're a Blackburn fan, didn't you?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Hold on a minute.
We'll talk about their dismal summer in a minute.
What about the other teams?
Why are you doing this? Why are you deflecting?
Well, I'm just trying to say.
All I was doing was talking about the Premier League title race. That's all I was saying. And I was just saying that the big impact, the key piece of information for me is Rodri being a Man City player throughout the whole course of the season. And if he is, Manchester City will win the league.
Cool, but that's a shout.
Do you not think so?
So where was he last season?
Getting back from his ACL, mate. Do you not think so?
No, listen, mate.
So you're tipping Arsenal. You think so? You believe in what I said at the start of the show, that you believe that we're entering a dynasty time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't hang my hat on it.
For Bruno Guimaraes, there's men in the box if he can find them, especially on the far post. He goes for a different shot. It's a brilliant goal.
I think it's a huge needle mover, and for me, this is a much more important signing than Vinny Jr.
And then it comes to Bruno Guimaraes. Brilliant hit into the corner.
It's a marquee signing. It's a player that's signed for now, not in a couple of years or anything like that. He's a sign for now.
Hit away by the defender, comes back out to Guimaraes, and Bruno Guimaraes gets above the marker and heads the ball in.
The left-hand side for me is probably one where we can get better, and obviously with Bruno coming in, that will make the midfield better, no doubt.
You're listening to the Final Word phone in here on talkSPORT with me, Majestic, and Premier League gaffer Sean Dyche. You're hearing a package here about Bruno Guimaraes. She's moved to Arsenal. Sophie Nicolau there, the wonderful Sophie. She's brilliant, by the way. Big Arsenal fan and writer and broadcaster. And she's right. It is a needle mover. It's a statement signing. It is Arsenal not resting on their laurels. And I hate to say it as a Spurs fan, you know, they had done things so right in the last few years with recruitment, even down to like moving Trossard on. Trossard's been great for them the last couple of years.
They get the manager time.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing they've done.
Well, this is the great.
He's maybe earned his time. He's maybe earned his time as well. By the way, credit to him. But they have given him time.
Yeah, which is not what clubs do anymore.
No, and he was running out of time. Let's face it. Yeah. He didn't win this year. I think they'd have had to gone, look, we've put, I don't know, was it maybe £1 billion or whatever over 4 years, let's say, something like that. If we put that into the side, we need an outcome. And to their credit, they got the outcome. By hook or crook, I personally commend him, Arteta, for changing his style. You know, not going for their philosophy, going, no, we just want to win. And now I'll commend him for making that signing, because that's a signing that your dressing room goes, oh, hello. You know, they now sit there going, oh, right, a real one's coming in, not just a young kid or maybe a development style, you know, future player, a real player. And they go, right, okay. So it's almost, for me anyway, I can only imagine, if you're going to sit there, if I'm the manager, I go, right, we've won this. I'm not just sitting there because we're 1-1. I want to go again.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant opportunity, I think, for Arsenal this year. I really do, mate, because the other superpower clubs all changed their managers. Some very good managers, but they've got to blend the team, get it ready, get it going, get the new philosophy, get the ethos, get the culture set. He's already got all that. So by adding statement signings like that, I just think it adds to the power of your group, because everyone thinks, right, we need to go again. You know, we need to up ourselves again.
Yeah, as I say, look, especially being on talkSPORT, I'm a Spurs fan, yeah, but I look at what people do and the business and stuff, and people can say, yeah, he spent a lot of money, but Arsenal have done things so right in the last few years. Like when they brought Declan in, it was a lot of money at the time.
Absolutely.
But it's paid dividends. So much so.
Absolutely.
And, you know, they went and bought a leader. They've gone and bought Newcastle's captain.
Yeah.
He was the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah, which says to me, they're not just going to sit there and go, oh, well, we won it now, we're just going to relax.
Correct.
And why not strike while everyone else is doing all these changes? You know, you've got a settled manager, you've got a settled group of players, you've just won the title, let's go again.
Yeah.
But the best way of going again is make sure the players don't just go, well, I'm sorted now. I mean, man, you did it for years, didn't they?
Yeah.
Just bring in 2 or 3 new players and ruffle feathers a little bit, you know, I mean, unofficially. And then they had the old boys, not the old boys in age, but the leaders like Keane and all them who kind of went, this is what we do at Man U.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we don't just sit there and go, oh, we won it last year, hurrah. We get on and we go, right, we've won it, we're going again.
And again, just using my experience as a fan, as a Spurs fan, I remember when Danny Rose came out with that statement, we have to Google the signings. So that's what the players are thinking, like you said. So when Bruno comes in, they're like, what, Bruno G's in? Wow.
Yeah.
So rather than going, you know, especially at that time with Pochettino, where Spurs could have cracked on, if we brought in those extra players, then you can't walk as of this
Do you know the other thing? Do you know the other thing that I think people forget, right? And you know, again, I'll give our wonderful listeners kind of a manager's view, if you like. He's game ready. He's Premier League ready.
Yes.
A lot of these clubs are signing European players. Don't get me wrong, are very good players, but you know, you do have to adapt. There's not many who just hit the ground in the Premier League and go bang and just automatically rip it. So if you look down the last 10 years of football, of foreign players signing, there is as many who've taken a bit of time, slow burners, as there is ones who have ripped it straight away. And he's a game-ready Premier League player.
Correct.
He knows about it. So he can just go, bang, change my shirt, I'm ready to go.
And that's the thing. I look over the last few years and what Arsenal did. They went into Man City, winners, when they brought Zinchenko and Jesus in. Then they went, right, we've moved on from them now. So we moved them on. When they brought Ramsdale in, and I thought, and Arsenal fans, you can tell me this because it's your club, I thought Ramsdale was pivotal in bringing back the fans to loving Arsenal again. He was the keeper that turning round and giving it some, and he was a great sort of showman for the Arsenal fans. And when I speak to my friends who are Arsenal fans, they loved him. But they went, we're not going to rest on that because Raya's the best one. And we're going to have a season of...
Raya's proved his worth without a shadow of
100%.
That is for sure.
But that is a big call for the manager to go, right, you're out, he's in, we're going to take the time and move and keep moving these players on.
And by the way, there's still an element of luck with them calls.
Yeah.
You know, you don't always get them right.
No.
Sometimes it's your gut feelings, and your staff as well. Your staff become important when they feed back and they go, should we or shouldn't we? And you go, no, I think it's time to go.
Yeah.
I think it's time to change things, you know what I mean?
And again, one of the greatest, if not the greatest Premier League manager, up there obviously, there's Pep and a few others with the conversations, but Sir Alex Ferguson
absolutely
moved on the best players in the world the moment he went, no, this ain't working.
That's why he's still the boss of them all.
Yeah.
He's the boss of bosses for me because of that reason. 24 years or whatever it was, 24 I think, of consistently turning more players around, turning new teams around. Do you know what I mean? And making a team, being brave enough for the class of 92. I know they're all fantastic players, but he was brave enough to go, no, we're going with these lot.
Yeah.
And then building a catalyst, which they tell me was Eric Cantona. You know, I mean, they're moments of real, unbelievable management for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 03717 223344 is the number to call if you want to have your say on the final word phone in. Lots of people get involved about the music, as well as the people that went back to a club for a second stint. This is from Paul, the Newcastle fan. Peter Beardsley did great for us, Newcastle, in his second stint.
Oh, yeah, that's a great pull. You brought one up.
Mark Hughes.
Great shout.
We had a message from, I'm
two,
trying to see.
Brilliant players there.
It was a wonderful listener that said about Mark Hughes, so thank you to whoever that was. I can't find it. We're getting so many messages, I'm trying to keep up with them. So we do appreciate that, guys. So Mark Hughes, Peter Beardsley, producer Ross mentioned Ian Rush.
Yeah.
He had a good second stint. So
It's hard though, right? It's hard, isn't it? Because we're not throwing them around, are we? You know, we're having to think about them, and our listeners are going, "Oh, right, yeah, that's a good question. Who can we think of?"
Here's a Spurs one, Klinsmann.
Did he go back?
He went back. He saved us from relegation.
Oh goodness, I forgot about that. I can remember the first time, obviously.
Yeah, I remember. I think we beat Wimbledon like 6-0, and he scored about 4 goals to keep us safe. And I remember the press conference. He came around the back around the Christmas, goes, "You know, I'm glad to be back, but I'm not here to perform miracles. I'm not Santa Claus." I never forget saying I'm not Santa Claus. I was like, "You are, welcome back." And I remember, that was good. So, the second stint.
Tottenham still had the famous 5 and the 6.
Yeah.
Famous 5 and the other 6. You can imagine the word I was going to use.
Yeah.
Famous 5 and the other 6. That's what you say about that 11 when at that time.
Yeah, it was brilliant stuff. Let's go to Lewis. He's an Arsenal fan. I'm sure he can give us an insight into his thoughts and feelings about Bruno going to Arsenal. How are you, Lewis?
Apologies. Hi, guys. May I firstly say this is the first-time caller, massive long-time fan. It's a pleasure to be on the call.
Oh, listen, we are so honoured to have you as our first time with you.
Well, I'm a newbie, so I think he means you, mate. So I'm a newbie, really.
We got Dyche in the house.
I appreciate it anyway.
Lewis, what do you make of the signing?
Apologies. Let's be bluntly honest here. We're a business. We're a team, right? When people join our club, right, they take them into the room. You don't just simply have the opportunity to get £250,000. This is your contract. This is what you'll be eligible to gain from joining Arsenal Football Club, and that's why we produce players. Okay? No?
Yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, but it's not. I mean, there are varying reasons. Of course, by the way, no footballer. Look, footballers have to play the game, right? They have to go. Yeah, I spoke to the manager and it was brilliant. Of course, but that's relevant in life. A contract's relevant in any walk of life, though, mate. To be fair.
Apologies. Arsenal is a different kind of club, though, Sean. And Sean, firstly, I've seen what you've done over the years and very impressed. But secondly, there's not many clubs that produce players like Arsenal, right? What we essentially do is we take you into the boardroom without your manager, your agent. He sits downstairs and we go through the terms and conditions. Okay, you may get paid not a pittance. We will pay you a wedge, but the reason you come to Arsenal Football Club is because you're playing for Arsenal Football Club, right? In my eyes, it's a prestige. Apologies, I'm going to be bluntly honest, Sean, my host. I'm not well in depth with the current squads. I'm an old man. Right? I used to pick my Sun newspaper up. We're talking the Percy days. Your Gilbertos, your Campbells, your Clichés, your Sagners, right? Football's changed, and of course we have to adapt to that situation. But I don't know.
No, I think most people will feel that about their clubs, though, mate. If you're Majestic Tottenham fans, we'd feel that they the players want to join Tottenham because of the right reasons. I do agree with your point, though. Arsenal have been producing players because I started out being the youth team coach at Watford, and Watford's training ground was literally next door to Arsenal's. Yeah, and I got to know Steve Bold really well because we were doing the 2 youth teams. Brilliant fella, by the way, as well. A great operator that he is. And they bought some brilliant players through. So they had a secondary market at Arsenal, which they knew was a secondary market. They knew they weren't always going to get the first, but they were selling players for like 2 and 3 million quid. You know what I mean? And like a secondary sort of run of business. And they went through a spell of providing some excellent players out to football at large, not just through, what the ones that got into Arsenal's team. So I do agree with that. The bit about the idea, the feel of a club, to be honest, every fan would feel that about their own club. You know what I mean? So I get your point about Arsenal. It's a prestige club, but every fan would feel that. They would hold their own club in high regard. Of course, Arsenal's in the superpowers, as I call them, of course. But you get my point. Yeah. Every fan would hope that the player is sitting there wanting to be part of that football.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right, coming up next, it's time to get all the latest transfer stories with our senior football correspondent, Ben Jacobs. You listen to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. It all starts with a spin. 18+, gamblingaware.org.
Real Madrid. Go and look at this is the point that I think Gabby was making this morning. I know that he was making it regarding trophies and what have you, but look at the brand value.
180 million.
There you go. Right, that's how big that football club is.
Right, that's a lot.
That's how big that is as a worldwide entity. 180 million, and you're talking about him coming to a club that has 32 million followers on Instagram. Again, these are very basic metrics. Very basic metrics. But Vinicius Junior is in a completely different stratosphere. All this talk about him coming to Arsenal throughout the whole course of the summer has just been manipulation from an agent trying to get the dude a few more quid. That's what it is. He was never in a million years going to be an Arsenal player this summer. That's what it is. It's just manipulating the market. Let's see if I can get some more money for my guy. Yeah. Why would he come to Arsenal?
I said that was the agent talk. Just using Arsenal as a
leverage,
a tool.
Yeah. Arsenal are interested. Oh, right, wicked, brilliant. Arsenal, champions of England. Right, well, let's use them. Yeah. Let's use them. Go back to the table with the Real Madrid lads. Yeah, he's coming out of contract. You know what I mean? He needs a few more zeros on this contract. Yeah. Okay, we're going to sign Yandy Mande. Let's put some pressure on you. No, don't worry about that. Vinny Junior ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Is it?
Come on. You can't leave. I just don't see leaving Real Madrid as unless you don't leave Real Madrid unless Real Madrid leaves you.
That's it.
That's it, mate.
Unless you come to the end of your time on your way, son.
Can't have a supermodel girlfriend and you leaving your supermodel girlfriend.
She leaves you.
For the dinner lady. Like, you know what I mean?
The dinner lady. You can't call Arsenal a dinner lady.
Oh, it's love, innit? It's love.
Good evening, it is the final word phone in as the Foo Fighters play underneath us. What a band.
Tune.
I've got to say a big shout to my sister Natasha because she is a huge Foo Fighters fan, so's her husband Luke, and at their wedding I actually played Everlong on the guitar.
Oh, what? I didn't know that. You just mentioned that. Fantastic. That. What an ability that is.
What a song that is.
I think he stumbled across that. I'm sure I saw when he did that acoustically on one of them odd shows. Like, who was the mad DJ in America?
Howard Stern.
Yeah, I think he did it on there. And then he went, and it got massive hits, and he went, oh. And he started doing it on stage.
Yeah.
The acoustic version.
That's correct, yeah. Howard with the deep voice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 03717223344 is the number to call. So many people get involved with the music stuff. I've got to read this one because Mark is a true music lover, I can tell. And he sent us a couple of messages, so I want to read his stuff out here. It says, I would like to suggest The Prodigy as your festival finale. I was at V97 in Chelmsford when the Manic Street Preachers headlined, great band as well. But after the Energy, as good as they were, they didn't give the energy of the prod. Keith was a true friend of mine, and I think about him lots. But the amazing experience he gave is unique. Prodigy headline, you go home loving it.
I missed it last year at Glasgow, but you see when they did that, and the singer just backed off.
Yeah, the fire. They did Green Lasers.
Oh,
it's beautiful, isn't it?
That was awesome.
That's from Mark, who's a West Ham fan. And he also says, your flame lives on, Firestarter. That's from Mark. He said, sorry, I'm always emotional when it comes to my old friend Keith, but you can't think of a better finale at a festival than the prod. Mr. Dyche is my age. He must love them.
Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I remember when they were breaking, when they first came through. But when
the proper rave stuff.
But when Insomnia came out, that was game changing.
Oh, that was Faithless.
Oh, no, sorry, yeah.
You're talking about Fat of the Land with the Firestarter, correct?
Sorry, when Firestarter came out.
Well, that's the shift from them being a rave outfit to
I was just going to say, because it almost like a rocky sort of deeper edge,
Yeah,
and a bit
100%.
Bit almost like a naughty edge, you know what I mean? Everyone went, oh, hang on a minute, just really powerful.
Well, it brought...
And his performance, of course, in the video.
Yeah, it brought... And the hair and everything. It brought Keith in as a frontman rather than just a dancer, because, of course, the original lineup was with Leroy as a dancer, Keith as a dancer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there was 4 of them, of course, at the start, wasn't there? And Keith and Liam were the dancers, Leroy was the MC, and, of course, Liam is just
but them 2 tunes, Insomnia, Faithless, and then Firestarter was different. That was for me game changing.
Yeah, absolutely. And again,
new direction.
Festival anthems. Right, it is now time to turn our attention to all things transfers. And joining us now on the show is the man that knows everything when it comes to transfers. Is senior football correspondent Ben Jacobs. How are we, Ben?
Good evening. Not sure about everything, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, you do a great job, Ben. Who would you have on our festival? You get to put someone on the lineup.
I mean, I'm like a Nirvana or Radiohead type guy.
Oh, listen, I'm going to go with Radiohead for you there.
Well, both, yeah.
Yeah, we'll take. Well, unfortunately, we can't have cut.
No, well,
but,
yeah.
But in real life, Radiohead. I love Radiohead as well. So that's a great shout, Ben.
Yep.
What's your favourite Radiohead tune?
Ooh, I think probably I'm a Creep.
Yeah. Classic. Paranoid Android, great tune as well. There's so many.
I think that's the line, the riff, in the background of that Paranoid Android.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
It's so good, isn't it? Right, Ben, let's talk about Luca Dina's finally officially completed a return to PSG from Aston Villa after the French Giants triggered his £8.5 million release clause. The 33-year-old left-back signed a 3-year contract to serve as an experienced backup to Nuno Mendes, while Villa finalised a €20 million deal to replace him with Atletico Madrid's Matteo Ruggieri. How did this deal come about, Ben?
Yeah, this was a release clause, so possibly not a deal that Villa would have really liked to sanction, not at the number. It's a bargain for PSG, in my opinion. €7 million release clause, a very similar kind of clause to Yuri Tielemans. That was 35 million to Manchester United, and Luca Digne returning to PSG. He was there playing for them for a couple of years between 2013 and 2015, and then still technically at the club during a loan spell at Roma as well. And this was just a deal that suited all parties. It was done very quickly with the player, and from Villa's point of view, as you say, they now need to strengthen in that particular position, because I'm sure they would have either liked to keep hold of Luca Digne, or if they were to sell him, have got a much bigger fee, because on paper, this one, a bargain for the French champions.
Absolutely. I want to stick with Villa quickly, because at the bottom of my sheet here, I've got about Palhinha and Newcastle being interested. But I saw earlier today Aston Villa being potentially interested in Palhinha. Where does his future lie, Ben?
Yeah, Villa were there first. I mean, so Palhinha, who was with Tottenham, and then they went on this incredible revamp of their midfield, and as a consequence, no room for Palhinha, despite some positive noises from Roberto De Zerbi. But the player, even when he joined Spurs on a loan with a buy option from Bayern, wanted to stay in the Premier League. It was about football and family. So he's giving big priority to still staying within the Premier League. And Aston Villa were actually there first, and talks continue, and they're relatively optimistic that the player would be keen on joining. But Newcastle have come in, and what's kind of clear in all of this since Bruno Guimaraes left and Matthias Jasler came in is that the new manager is going to have a fair amount of say. And I wonder whether some of Newcastle's kind of stagnation in the market was actually down to waiting to allow Jasler some say over recruitment, because clearly this isn't only about book balancing for Newcastle United. They got 70 million for Gordon, 100 million for Tonali, and then a further 75 million for Guimaraes. And they are going to be able to spend some of that money. But if they can find experience in the middle more economically, maybe they can go big on other positions. Paulinho, one option. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is another. And both kind of fit a very similar profile. So clearly Newcastle are going to add another midfielder, but don't be surprised in other areas if they spend some of that Bruno Guimaraes money.
Yeah, I was going to mention Højbjerg as well, because he's been linked to Newcastle as well. It clearly looks like they want to throw some older heads and reinforcements in there, Dyche.
They're going to have to spend, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because, Eddie going, and surely the fans are going, like, not just the manager going, they're going, well, look, we bought in a fortune over the last couple of years. You know what I mean? Or certainly the last 3 windows, from last summer, the Christmas run, and then this window. So they're going to have to. I must just mention, I will say, because you were saying about Paris Saint-Germain getting a good deal for $8.5 million, but if they've already spent 20 million in balance to get Ruger, he's 24 years old. I've been at Atletico working at Simeone. Usually they're hardy, them boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that looks pretty good business to me.
But that's a good deal, right?
Yeah, it's an excellent deal. I mean, we're definitely seeing one market between kind of Premier League clubs and outside, and another Premier League to Premier League, which is why, for example, Christian Romero, if he goes to Atletico Madrid or Napoli, that's a 40 million euros deal. And when you compare that to Jan-Paul van Hecke and Max Lacroix, both 52, the inflation within Premier League makes it really difficult to get value. But if you're prepared to go outside, there are still some bargains to be had. And I think, as you say, overall, it's a great deal for PSG. And if Villa get that one over the line, it's an excellent price for them as well.
Do you know, as soon as you see things like the Elliot Anderson deal, easy for me to say, go through, you know the market's rising.
Yeah.
And it absolutely hurts. Everyone beneath the superpowers gets hit with everything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You imagine Forest now, right? They try and bring up against a player to get a player, and guess what they say? Well, you just got 116 million for him, and we think our player is half that player at least, so therefore we want half that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And then, of course, with Spurs spending all that money on Tonali, the deal for Bruno G would have been them going, keep going up, keep going up. And speaking of Arsenal, Ben, I believe you got a Martinelli story for me.
Yeah, a couple of bits of breaking news for you for Arsenal. So they're naturally still trying to strengthen on that left-hand side, but you sense after the failed pursuit of Vinny Jr., they might need some kind of outgoing, and what they're not going to do is sanction Gabriel Martinelli's exit before they bring somebody in. Yildiz of Juventus is a player they like, but he very recently signed a new deal. Iliman Ndiaye has been discussed. Junior Krupi was on the list, but he did his metatarsal, and Bournemouth insist that they were never going to sell anyway. And then Julian Alvarez is still there if we get a twist, despite the fact that the player said he wants Barcelona, and Atleti on record publicly as saying that he's going nowhere. But the point here is that Arsenal are still looking broadly for that left side of attack, whether it's a more versatile player like Julian Alvarez, or alternatively if it's an out-and-out left winger. And if Gabriel Jesus goes to Napoli because Romelu Lukaku might be moving off to Turkey, then maybe there's even room to find two kinds of sources of goals. And then in that context, Galatasaray have decided Gabriel Martinelli, according to my information, is an option. And today there was a call between Arsenal and the Turkish club to discuss the first steps of what might be the price and when's the right timing. Because again, I don't see Arsenal sanctioning anything for Gabriel Martinelli before they know that they've got another reinforcement on that side. So this is one to keep an eye on. A lot of money in Turkey, and it could be a developing story. Now, it was thought that Gala's number one priority was Rafa Leão, and they are still in talks, but at the moment, no breakthrough. So if they don't get Leão, could they turn their attention to Gabriel Martinelli? An initial inquiry to Arsenal has today been made.
Brilliant stuff as always. Thank you very much, Ben. That is senior football correspondent Ben Jacobs, who's always up to speed on what's going on in the transfer markets. You just heard there, you know, Martinelli. Arsenal will probably look to move a couple more on, you know.
Yeah, well, look, like we were saying earlier, I think if, you know, and I'm using a template of Man U with Sir Alex, he often did that, didn't he? Won something, and they went bang, 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 2 or 3 out, 2 or 3 in. And just to almost say, no, we're not just sitting and going, oh, well, we won that, so now it's all right. You know, we're going again type thing. And I think that's one way of doing it. There's other ways to do it, but that is one way for sure. And that's just juggling the pack, and refreshing it. You know what I mean? Giving it a different feel.
But it's really interesting to hear your point of view because, as you mentioned, with Bruno G, the biggest thing you mentioned, Premier League ready, right?
Yeah, I think. You know what? I'm amazed more Premier League moves are not happening because if you want to keep winning, for me, I think that's a really wise move to get someone who can go in and just go, bang, I'm ready.
And that's why I've been so impressed with Spurs' business so far because of Robbo, Senesi, Tonali, Van Hecke, etc. All of these guys. And that's what Spurs had done wrong in previous years for me. And Pards called it out a couple of years ago when we brought in Lucas Bergvall, who clearly is a talent.
Yep.
Archie Gray, again,
clearly a talent.
But young lads.
Absolutely.
Who aren't necessarily Premier. They've had... Archie Gray especially has had so much on his shoulders over the last 2 seasons.
Couldn't agree more, you know. I mean, it will pay him back dividends in the future. But it was a hard situation to throw that kid in a...
Oh, you're right back this week. You're centre half this week.
And I tell you what, he did his lot, though.
Yeah.
But that will stand him in good stead, I think. You know, he's sort of fast track of how you mature as a Premier League player will be massively powerful for him going forward, I think. But it must have been, playing through that must be hard.
Yeah.
As a young player, and you go, now I'm playing there, now I'm playing there, now I'm playing there.
It would be interesting to hear.
Managers, crowd going mad.
It would be to hear him in an interview, to how that time was.
Yeah, but he probably won't make sense of it now.
Yeah.
But in the next couple of scenes, he probably will.
Yeah,
and he'll
absolutely.
reflect back and go, it's made him a lot stronger.
But again, even for us fans watching him, because he's been there. It's so hard to judge him as a player because you don't know what player he actually
It's been incredibly unfair on him, and they've asked a lot of him. But, as I said, that used to be commonplace, Now it's almost like, why are you putting him? He's too young. But, Brian Clough was throwing kids in, and Alex Ferguson was throwing kids in.
Correct.
And they'd come through it. And I think he has come through it. I think he's held his own, and I think he'll get stronger and stronger and stronger.
Absolutely. We are going back to the phone lines next, and we'd love to hear from Rangers fans. I had a Rangers fan call me on Friday, or is it Thursday? Thursday, I think, because they lost in Europe, and he was not happy at all. And he was like, if we lose on Sunday, that's going to be problematic.
They've played to Malcolm Hibernian. They've done a brilliant job there, what they've done, to revitalise Hibernian and make it a stronger unit.
Absolutely. So Rangers fans, give us a call as your side's lost again, this time against Hibs. 03717 22 3344. You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. It all starts with a spin. 18 plus gambler.org.
Chris, what about Man U? I fancy United have a much better season. I think Michael deserves this job, and I do think they're going to be up there. I think they're going to push. I think they're going to be strong.
No, I do. I think I'm so happy to see Carra's just thriving. I think, obviously, having played with him, you know what kind of character he is. He's that composed and he's intelligent, and he's obviously bringing that into one of the biggest jobs in world football. And I think the run they obviously had at the end of last season, obviously in 2026, I think they were like number one in points taken. So for him to be able to have a full pre-season, bring in whoever he likes in terms of players and just have that belief, I think there's no one better kind of, steering that ship really. And no, I'm excited to see what the season brings for them.
I think it's going to be an interesting season, Chris, all round, because so many new managers. You don't know what to expect. Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs have spent big money as well. Whether they can try and get into that top four, and obviously the only one with a little bit of stability is probably Arsenal. But it's always hard to retain that title, isn't it?
100%. I think everyone's going to be hungrier than ever, and it is hard to kind of maintain that. You're now the golden ones that everyone wants to compete and to fight against. So I'm happy for United to be able to have that consistency from last season, because like you say, a lot of players are going to be coming, a lot of managerial changes. So I think United's got the...
Oh, we're getting some tunes on the show this evening. The Killers, straight out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, banger. That's a banger, isn't it? I've seen them a few times. They're awesome.
Because they just have hit after hit, and sometimes in a festival situation, you just want the bangers.
And you know, experience in any walk of life, but particularly music thing, they learn how to. Their stage presence grows, don't it? And they can. I don't know how to describe it. They become real showmen.
Yeah, absolutely.
But weren't like that 10 years before, I'm sure.
No.
They know to get the crowd eating out their hands.
Yeah, it's like being a footballer. Just understanding
absolutely.
In the middle of the pitch.
Or a DJ, mate. I'm sure. The more experience you get, little things happen. You can control it. You can mix it. You change the feel of it.
Well, it's reading the room, isn't it? And I say this all the time to up and coming DJs. Ask me. I don't plan sets. You can't plan a set because something might go wrong. Like, for example, yesterday, the festival I played at in Hatfield, the Great Fate, amazing festival. Dizzy's absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
Smashed it as he does. And then they put a 15-minute interval in between me and Diz because of the changeover, which didn't need to be there. And all the crowd have gone. And
you're going, what?
Because obviously they don't realise that the music estate. So I can't go in with a banging intro because there's no one there. It looks silly. I've had to rebuild up.
I'll give you a manager's view, right? So you prepped your team.
Yeah.
You go, half time he's got it tactically wrong. Guess what? You get out there, the stadium feels different than you thought. The opposition have turned up.
Yeah.
I mean, really turned up. And everyone's going, you got it wrong. You go, no, we didn't get it right. Wrong, sorry. But it's hard to get it right. You've got 11 others out there trying to stop you doing what you were doing.
Correct.
And on any given day, the crowd's mood can change and that can influence performance.
Absolutely.
As well. That's when half time becomes important.
Yeah.
Maybe like you're saying as DJ, when you go, hang on a minute, I've got to change the feel here.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's such an important thing.
And just knowing, again, being versatile enough to go, right.
And it often comes with experience.
It's not working. Again, and we've already doffed our cap to Arteta for changing his style to win the Premier League. And I said it, and this is as a Spurs fan, I'm like, I was sticking up for Arteta. I was like, well, he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't, because when they're playing the fluid football, which was probably the best looking football in the Premier League at the time.
But they couldn't win anything.
And because, they couldn't win the league. They've got no backbone.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they become horrible to play against. And literally it's just not nice to watch. Then they win. Oh, but that's not good football.
Well, I recently got a turnaround quote on me about Areola, and I was actually praising him to the hill, saying that he was playing free football and it weren't working. And then he went more like get it forward football, right in your face, high energy, high octane football. And he's done a brilliant job. And somehow that got turned around on me and I was actually lauding him.
Well, there's also, it's also
the media.
Yeah, it's also sometimes the sort of like harsh stereotype that I feel you get about football, the style you play. Because if you watch Burnley, especially when he's in the Championship coming up, the football you played was on the front foot.
Because you know yourself, it's easier to do it in the Championship because guess what? You're probably the stronger hand.
Yeah.
But you go in the Premier League, I said recently, mate, and I said it this year about the teams coming up, you'll go back down if you carry on doing that.
Yeah.
So change. My advice to all the managers who get up, the first season this is, after a time you might find your feet. First season, change for what's needed, not what you think is needed by just going, no, we're going to stick to the same way of doing it, because I'm telling you it ain't going to work.
Well, we've seen it because ironically we're about to talk about Rangers. Russell Martin, former Rangers manager, when he come into the Premier League and stuck with that same philosophy, you find it difficult.
Yeah, no, I find that difficult to watch as a manager because I'm going, I always use this line, when they say, if we go down, we go down the right way. Stay up the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's my advice. Stay up the wrong way.
And the thing is, we know Russell Martin's a good manager. He's got great ideas.
Absolutely, that's fine. But you got to win, mate.
Yeah.
Or win enough.
Yeah, because otherwise you find yourself out of a job. And speaking of jobs, the Rangers manager job at the moment, the pressure's on that. Let's go to Tom. He's a Rangers fan. He joins us on the show. It's not been the best start to the season, Tom.
No, it's been a poor start, same as the last few seasons. Have been so disappointing. So disappointing.
What do you put it down to, Tom?
Well, when we told McInnes was coming in, they played 4-4-2. To play, paid a 3-5. He played 3-5-2 today, right? So he's chopping and changing his team already. His formation, and I put it down. I mean, today there was lethargic. There was just nothing to get the crowd off their seat. And at Ibrox, we're used to being up and down and exciting football. Absolutely nothing. And we've had this the last few seasons. And we've started off the same way as last year. Very poor. Already 5 points behind the league leaders. Unless there's major changes to that team, we're going to have a long, hard season again.
The fans wanted McInnes in. Big time. Right? They really wanted Dennis in, didn't they?
Do you really think that? Do you really think they wanted him in?
Yep.
Do you really think they wanted him in?
I'm sort of asking you. I got the impression.
That was the impression we got.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
That's what we like to ask you.
They wanted Derek McInnes in.
Well, I was very surprised they went for McInnes. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I think that a lot of fans are looking at McInnes as being ex-Rangers. He won 9 in a row. He was only there a season and a half at Ibrox. You know what I mean? He was only there.
Yeah, he was on loan a lot, wasn't he?
You go back a couple of seasons, right? And you had Barry Ferguson in, right? Barry Ferguson at least would be on that park, getting in amongst these guys at the dressing room and at half-time, and he would be encouraging them to play the Rangers way and give the fans what they expect. But we're not getting that. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. You tell me on that park today who's a real leader for the Rangers dressing room today, because I couldn't see one.
But mate, that's the hardest thing in football now. You know, managers across the board, mate. You know, I know managers from lower leagues as well, in England, that is, and they'll tell you the hardest thing now is getting leaders. You know, we're trying to get different forms of leaders, you know, now because, you know, the old school leaders, which we'd all be able to say, you know, I don't know, the leader by their presence and their voice and, you know, getting around the players. That's not so prevalent now. So what kind of leaders are you looking at? You know, what kind of you know, trying to mould these people into being leaders is part of the job now. And I don't know. I agree. I don't know the squad there well enough, but you do need leaders, particularly at a club with the demand of Rangers and any big club. But Rangers are a massive concern. You do need leaders who can stand up to the feel and the expectation of Rangers and the crowd there.
Well, what worries me now is going forward. We're going into Thursday's game 2-1 down in the Europa League. If Derek McInnes doesn't change the team or doesn't do something to get the team working harder, give us that excitement. I mean, if we get beat 2-1 today and we had 15 chances and we were banging the goals and hitting the crossbars, it just didn't go for us, that would be great. But we're not even getting that. We're not getting that. So what happens on Thursday if we get beat again? That's 4 in the bounce. That's some start of a manager coming to Ibrox. You know, where does he go from there?
I'm bound to support him as I always do, but you know, there's a time element as well. Now I know that, don't get me wrong, I'm going to go back on my words. Pre-season, he's had some time, the manager and his staff, to get the players doing what they want them to do. But when the real stuff starts, we were just talking about it, actually, me and Majestic on the show, about, you know, when the real stuff starts, that's when the real questions get asked and answered, if you like. So I would hope they give him a bit more time to, you know,
I hope they
shuffle
do
the pack.
Because you can't keep changing managers. But if we went through the first 3-4 games of the season here and we scraped through 1-0, I would take it because you've got 9-12 points on the board.
That's fair. Yeah, I get your point.
But we've not got that at the moment. We're now with 1 point. 1 point. That's what we have at the moment. And now that makes it again even harder for us going into the next game because it'll put the players under a lot of pressure. And you know what our Rangers fans are like.
I do.
If we go 20 minutes into the game and we're not getting anywhere and we're 5 points behind Celtic and all of a sudden we're not doing anything, we will go on the backs of players. And maybe that's unfair, but let's be honest.
No, it is what it is, mate. I mean,
we work hard to get that money for season tickets, let me tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I took Burnley up there when Mark Warburton was manager there because, you know, my friendship with him, and we took him up there a couple of pre-seasons and the crowd were giving him a lot of stick, and we were a Premier League side at the time. You know what I mean? So I do well understand the demand up there, mate.
Tom, I want to ask you about Nico Raskin because there's been a lot of noise about him. Of course, only a couple of years left on his contract. Talking about leaders, he's someone that's revered in you know the world of football. How did he get on today?
Look, they're asking things. One of these ones where you hear lots of clips coming out of Ibrox or different things that's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hear he's very vocal in the dressing room. Now that vocal might be and a good vocal that he's encouraging the players, let's do better, or it could be a complaint, or we just don't know. But I think there's been so much noise made about Nico Raskin. I think we'll see him away shortly. I think he'll go before the window closes. It's been too much going on.
Yeah, there's been a lot of noise. That's why I wanted to ask and get your opinion on him. Because, like I said, it's someone name that keeps popping up, and I know the manager was keen to work with him and thought he might not even get to work with him, but he was, you know, he got a massive backing from the manager. Tom, what's going to be good enough for you to see in the next couple of games for you to give him your backing, or are you just done with him already?
No, I'm not done with him. No, I'm never done with the Rangers. What I'm going to say to you is, right.
Well, the manager, not Rangers. I know you'll never be done with Rangers.
No, I'm not done with McInnes either. But you made a statement there. He says the manager wanted to work with Nico Raskin, right? Mm-hmm. So why did they bring in a player at Shanklin, right? And why did they not get Nico Raskin, get him in there and sit there and say, look, you've been here a while. I'm going to make you captain. Let me see what you can do. What can you do for me? What you going to bring to the club as captain? But he brings in a guy for Hearts on a free, and he becomes a Rangers captain. Why is that? Because he's a Rangers supporter all his days. Come on.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point.
John Gregg, who was a Rangers supporter, John Gregg would have threw a brick wall for the Rangers all day long. These are different. These are different characters now we've got in football. To me, they've not got it. You need to want to play for Rangers. You need to want to play the Rangers way, which is hard, 90 minutes, start to finish. That's the way it should be, and give the fans something to go home and say that was great to watch.
Great call. Thank you very much, Tom. Coming up, I'm legally obliged to talk about Spurs. I can hear Bard signed all the way from Scotland already. You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. It all starts with a spin. 18 plus, gambling.org.
Hussein, good morning.
Good morning, Shaban. Oh, Akbar Lahore. You're making me boil right now. I can't stand you, mate.
Oh.
You know, what have you won? What have you actually won, Gabby? You've not won nothing.
Yeah.
All you keep doing is just criticize Arsenal. What have you actually won?
Nothing, mate.
You know, it's actually funny that I used to like you as a striker, but now I can't even. I don't know what I used to see in you because you've won absolutely nothing. And Arsenal are gonna win stuff. They're gonna win.
Like me, you said.
Yeah, I used to, but now.
What did you like about me though from before?
Now he's your big gob. Sorry to say that. He's criticizing Arsenal, but you just don't see how Arsenal are actually making. They're going places right now. We've just won the Premier League. You just even don't appreciate that we did that because you just don't hate Arsenal. That's your issue.
I love Arsenal.
No, you don't.
I do. Thierry Henry is my favourite player. I've got his shirt that I wear at home.
Don't insult my intelligence, Gabby, please.
I love Arsenal, mate.
No, you don't.
I do.
Let me finish by saying this.
Okay.
Why will not what's his name, Vini, not come to Arsenal? Because we are actually building a team. Because we are building. Why should he stay in Real Madrid? Especially what
Real Madrid
happened between him and Jose.
The Lions. Real-life fantasy rugby. Bitter rivalries set aside in a quest to create the world's best team in weeks. There's nothing like it, but who on earth had the idea and how did it all begin? Incredibly, the first Lions tour was organised and funded by three men who played in England's first ever Test cricket match. Opening bowler Alfred Shaw, opening batsman Arthur Shrewsbury and captain James Lillywhite. The 1888 Lions squad then, made up of 17 English, 4 Scots and 1 Welshman and a Northern Irishman, took a 46-day boat trip to New Zealand before heading to Australia. The Lions weren't alone on the boat. Also on board were 300 stoats and weasels who were brought over to eliminate New Zealand's rabbit problem. The first ever Lions captain, Robert Seddon, died of drowning midway through the tour while sculling on a river. Andrew Stoddart, who was another of the cricketers there, took over and was the star of the tour. The next one was the first to get official recognition from the RFU against the newly formed Springboks. Although the Lions won the series and beat the Boks again 5 years later, in the 12 series since in South Africa, they've only won 2. New Zealand has proved an even tougher hunting ground, just the 1 series win for the Lions in 11 attempts, which came in 1971. And then there was that nail-shredding drawn series in 2017, only the second in Lions history. Only once have the Lions clinched a series after losing the first test, 1989, when David Campese's infamous ghost pass was pounced upon by Ian Evans. Before World War II, the Lions had a dark blue strip, which on the 1930 tour forced the All Blacks to play in all white. So in 1950, the iconic red shirts, white shorts and blue and green socks combination was born. It remains the symbol of the greatest alliance of adversaries in all of sport. To borrow the phrase from Jim Telfer, the Lions is Everest.
Welcome to the Final Word phone in here on talkSPORT, me Majestic, alongside the experienced football gaffer, Sean Dyche. Thanks for all your calls so far and your artist shouts for our Final Word Festival main stage. We still need more of them, so 03717 223344. Great selection so far, including The Killers, Foo Fighters, Prodigy and Radiohead. Coming up soon, we'll discuss a very interesting potential swap deal. And the EFL returns next weekend. talkSPORT is your home of the Football League. But next up, we've got to talk about Spurs and Christian Romero. 03717 223344 to air your views to the nation of the Final Word phone in here on talkSPORT. Right, we are talking about Spurs now, as producer Ross has put it in my running order. You know, like, because I'm a Spurs fan, people think I just choose to speak about. I speak about Spurs.
No, of course, it's got to be covered. It's got to be covered. Relevant news, isn't it?
It is. Well, at the end of the day, we know that Christian Romero, is a World Cup winning Spurs captain.
Yep. That's
a big player, right? It seems to me that a deal for him to leave the club's imminent. De Zerbi spoke very positively about him, though. Do you think there's room for him to stay? But looking at the signings, it suggests that, you know, Van Hecke, Senesi, you know,
he's not character, isn't he? Because I've seen him up close play.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, he's tough and he can play. And forget about when it goes too far, of course. I've got himself in trouble, silly challenges. But generally,
you're right, he can play as well.
Yeah, he scored.
Yep.
Right, it's a massive thing to have. You've got a centre half who can score set pieces and stuff like that, of course. And yeah, he just drifts into these weird performances and mid-performance. Yeah, and you just go, you can't do that, you know, at any level of football. But certainly not when you're captain and captain of any team, let alone Tottenham, who, you know, fantastic big club, you know what I mean? So you're going like, well, I don't know, as a manager, I think he's a real conundrum, me. I really do. And you know, I do think he's talented without a shadow of a doubt. But it's just, his temperament just seems, you're never quite sure, right? You're going to get, let's face it, as a manager's view, as a centre-half, right, you want them really to be your rocks. Yeah. You want them to be your solid citizens. They're going to be there all season. They're going to do the job, other than injury and all that sort of stuff. And they're going to be the ones who are pretty stalwart, really, stalwart players who season after season, you know, if you get some good centre-halves at your club, you've got half a chance.
Yeah, because we had Toby Alderweireld on the breakfast show last week, and he was talking about Christian Romero. And, you know, when him and Jan Vertonghen were Spurs' centre-halves, like you said, the generals...
Vertonghen, good player. Yeah. Good player, you know what I mean?
And you know, and as Toby said, exact same thing. You can tell he's a great football player, but especially that position of the pitch, you cannot be affording those moments.
I think, am I right, he's about 26 now?
Yeah.
So he should be mature, you know, coming through that you know that I'm on about football maturity, by the way. I don't mean, I'm not about, you know.
He's actually 28. 28.
Oh, 28. Well, even better then. So he should have a more balanced view of you know, not just, you know what I mean, right? When you start, you do your bit.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older and you mature as a player, you start learning the team bit, you know, and what you mean to the team and how, do you know what I mean? How you can start controlling what the team do and, playing your part in it. Never more so than from centre-half. You know, I was a centre-half. I wasn't like him. I wasn't as good as him, but I knew the job. You know, I knew to organise. I knew the responsibility I had on my shoulders, what to do. And that's what I think at 28 now, after all the success he's had as well, I just think he'd be more balanced, you know, in the way he is as a player. You know, I don't know him as a bloke, but as a player on the pitch, I mean.
Who's the best captain you've ever had?
Oh, people wouldn't know, but you know, somebody changed, certainly, my group of players when I was at Chesterfield, believe it or not, and they brought in Nicky Law. Centre-half from Nicky Law had been at Rotherham, ex-Arsenal actually, as a kid, but been at Rotherham and clubs like that. And he just had a way about him of conducting himself in a way that, you know, he meant business, you know what I mean? And he did it on the pitch, did it off the pitch in the way he was around people. And I'm on about as a football person, good lad as well, I got on well with him, but what I mean is, as a football person, he understood the job at hand, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I remember even as a kid, I was lucky really, but obviously at Forest I had Stuart Pearce. Now I wasn't in the first team, but he trust me, he was powerful throughout the club.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Bring Gunn when I was at Chesterfield, another great friend of mine who was a good captain, you know. And I think it's changing. I do think captains are changing now. But I just think, you know, someone like him, I think as a manager, it'd be really frustrating because you can see what a player he is.
Yeah.
You can see he's competitive. You see he's got an edge, and you do need an edge. I always say that you need an edge of arrogance, but not, I don't mean when it goes overboard. To get out there in front of all them people every week and the international scene, win World Cups, you need an edge of arrogance in what you are.
Absolutely.
But you can't just let it spill over, you know, and it ends up causing more trouble than what they're worth in the end. You know what I mean? And he's had moments of that, I must say. Not all the time, because he's a very good player. But he's had moments where you go, why?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That must be why people can try.
It is literally why.
Yeah.
Why you didn't even need to do that.
Yes.
There. And then, And again, you know, from a managerial point of view, as your club captain now, and again, this is the problem. We hear stories. Now, that whole story of he was going back to Argentina when Spurs were going to be in, possibly getting relegated from the Premier League, and he wasn't going to be there in the last day of the season. Obviously, he was. You know, that all changed.
Yeah.
We don't know how true it actually was. Was he going or not? This is why fans are now in this position of just let him go, because obviously they're hurt by that.
Yeah.
And
it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, as a fan.
I mean, there's more information out there now as well. You know, let's face it, trying to contain information in a football club is nigh on impossible. So fans get more information, rightly or wrongly, it then builds a story, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the story can get really overpowering. And then it's trouble for the manager and the club and for the player. You know, and I think Spurs fans, I don't know, look, I try and give a fair view of fans. Most fans, you're always going to get your 10% minority of the haters. Right?
Speaking of fans, Tom, our Rangers fan, was superb. The caller.
Yes, by the way, he certainly was. Because not only, it's a fair shout before we go back onto what's happening there, but I listen to some of these shows, and I'm on some of the shows, and some people get on, they're really emotional, I understand it, but he was very measured, I thought, so fair play to him. You know, going back to the Tottenham thing, it's 1 minute, you know what, I don't know all these guys, I don't know everyone in the camp, but sometimes it's just as a manager and as a fan, because so much gets out there, fans get confused, don't they? Fans are going, well, what are we going to believe? Are we believing that, or believing this, or believing whatever? And it's hard to contain.
Noise.
Yeah, and trying to not contain, that's not fair, because everyone has a view now, and that's fine. But just trying to align the view, you know, and go, hang on a minute, this is what's happening. You know, and sometimes clubs go, like I said earlier, there's more noise, so sometimes you just let it go away, you know, let it drift away, with the old fish in chip paper when they used to say.
Yeah, of course.
But other things you have to take it on. And I think this is a really interesting one with Romero. You know, which way is this going to swing from a fan's point of view and from the club and the manager's point of view?
You're De Zerbi. What do you do? Stay or go?
I'd have a truth chat with him. You know what I mean? To be honest, and go, right, in private, you know, I go, where are you really at with this?
Yeah.
What do you really want?
Yeah.
Because if you're not in it to win it, then let's shake hands.
And I think that's what De Zerbi has. He's come out publicly and said it, and I know privately he's done it as well. It's like, if you do not want to be at this football club with this project, please just tell me.
But you know the other thing, I'd have to go, but if you are, we got to have an agreement now.
Yeah.
Don't keep throwing your dummy out with you, because it doesn't suit you. We got to have an agreement now between us. As long as I'm here, you'll give me my word. Your word. You're going to do your lot for this football club, for me, for yourself, etc. That would be my chat.
I just think, in terms of the scenarios that play out, Simeone and him, it's almost like it's his son. Like they are made for each other. That's a perfect Simeone player.
Simeone trips his amigo. He'd take no.
Yeah.
You know the word I'm thinking. No nonsense. Let's say. So any of that, it's going no.
But that's what I'm saying. I think they'd have a great relationship.
Yeah,
and
probably would, because in a way that, you know, like whatever people think about modern footballers, they still need boundaries. Now it's getting harder to get them boundaries, by the way, but they still need some form of boundaries.
Absolutely.
And I know from Trip Simeone, he has certainly laced down boundaries. I can assure you that.
I can imagine.
You step over that mountain, there's only one winner.
Yeah.
That's why he's the highest paid manager in the world, because he has that much power. Yeah, he's a real gaffer, because the club have almost gone, you're the highest paid manager in the world. You do what you need to do. We're going to back you.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, what job to have. Spurs fans, come and talk about how the pre-season's going, and should Christian Romero be sent packing to Madrid? Get your calls coming into us, 03717 223344. You listen to the final word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. It all starts with a spin. 18+, gamblerware.org.
But the Vinny Jr. one was a audacious attempt, to say the least.
Big word for you.
I've been learning this book that I've been reading. They've got these big words in. I'm trying to keep them in my brain. No, but it was always going to be tough shit, man. Like Vinny Jr. leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, it just doesn't sound right. As Arsenal fans might get angry, I'll say it, but like, imagine Neymar Jr. at Barcelona. He's not going to leave.
brilliant turnaround, and it's Christian Romero.
Liability. Give Vicky van der Ven the captaincy.
And sometimes with a red card, with some sort of action, you think, that's not what the team needed now.
Across into the near post, and the header is sent in by Christian Romero.
He was a liability for us last season. He was the captain. He didn't want to be there on the last day, so get rid of him.
There you go. The verdict's out on Romero. A lot of people there you heard from Jamie O'Hara calling him a liability. Dan Ambrose saying give Van der Ven the captaincy, move him on. You know, what I struggle with, Sean, is that he is a good player. He's a World Cup winner. He's a winner. Like, he's got it in his DNA. Yeah. Do you sometimes, to be a really big team, have to accommodate those people and deal with them differently to others and go, you know what, I'm going to treat them a bit different to the others of the group? Or does that send a bad signal out? Does that set a standard?
Right, so the rule of thumb would be every team needs mavericks.
Yes.
You know the problem when they become non-maverick and they start becoming, well, the old favourite, which we said earlier, is Clive Woodward used, which is energiser sappers. So if you're a maverick and you need a bit of management and a bit of maintenance, no problem. But if you're a sapper and you're draining the life out of everyone, we call it mood hoovers. You know, if you get the old mood hoover, you know what I mean? And you're like, oh, here we go.
I got called a mood hoover yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, because I was like...
You need to check yourself.
Is that a festival?
Trust me, that's bad. If someone calls you a mood hoover, that's like, ooh.
I finished my set and I wanted to sit down. It's like, you're not coming to dance? I was like, oh no, I need to have a little sit down.
No, it's not mood hoover. That's just having a rest.
I know. I was recalibrating afterwards.
Yeah, recalibrating. Yeah, just settling. No, but you get my point. So if they turn into sappers and they're killing the dressing room, then you got to go, mate. Well, I always said this. My rule of thumb was this: I talk to you, then I demand of you, and then I'll drag you. And if I'm dragging you and it ain't working, then it's time for you to get out of the building.
Yeah.
Oh, well, or me, whichever way it works. But I just thought no. So
that's why I had to sub Yaya Toure once. That's my claim to fame. I subbed Yaya Toure on a charity football match. Yeah, come on, son.
Yeah, come on, enough for you. So. No, but
what legend.
So I think, look, I don't know in the camp. In the camp, you know, the other thing is, I must say this, you know, to protect him a little bit, sometimes he's a good guy, you know, it's when they get the red mist when the whistle blows.
Yeah.
You know, in the camp, you think, oh, he's right on board, and they are. And they get him on a pitch and you go, what just happened?
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe he is. Maybe he is a good guy. But I think with a player like that, you've certainly got to, well, if I was deserving, I'd certainly be having an honest chat with him.
Yeah.
But then you've got to lay down some boundaries and go, look, if you're in it to win it, as I said, we've got to have a gentleman's agreement here that you're going to, you know, stand up and be counted when we really need you, not just when you fancy it. You know what I mean?
Have you had those conversations with players?
Of course. Yeah, you've got to know where they stand, and you've got to know.
Yeah.
By the way, both though, both.
Yeah.
Because then the player knows, doesn't he? He goes, "All right, Gaffer, you know, like I get you." Yeah, they're right. You know, some of them conversations go really well. Some they don't because you're a human as well. And when they hit something back, you go, "Oh, I didn't think of that one." So I've had a few curveballs.
Right, former Liverpool and Welsh striker Dean Saunders was alongside Shabana Hearn on The Breakfast Show recently, and he had this to say on Romero.
Romero is up there with one of the worst captains in the history of the Premier League. Finished 17th, 2 years running, right? He was the captain, so he can't be that good, can he? And he's an absolute liability on the pitch. He's a walking red card, and his behaviour in the World Cup after the whistle went sums him up.
Scathing report from Dean Saunders there. The worst
behaviour,
captain
right, we'll
of
all
the Premier
agree on
League.
that one. The behaviour thing, unacceptable.
Yeah.
We can all agree with that.
Well, after the whistle.
After World Cup thing, we can all agree with that.
But unfortunately, I kind of do like it. I like the housery sometimes.
No, I know what you mean, but
it's not gentlemanly.
No, it goes too far.
Yeah.
It goes too far. But the bit about the captaincy, I mean, I wouldn't say they finished 17th because of him. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing. Also, just to fact check Dean, who great, I love Dean, but in actual fact, the first year when we got 17th and won the Europa League, and we just put that in there as well because that needs context.
Yep.
Sonny was the captain.
Of course,
it was Son. Coutts became the captain when Son left.
Sonny.
Oh, yeah. What that goal against Burnley when he runs against the whole.
Oh yeah, cheers. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks for that.
I was there.
Yeah, brilliant. I really enjoyed that day. 5-0 at half time, wasn't it? Or 4-0.
It was bad. It was a bad one.
Bad. It was really bad.
What did you say at half time to those defenders?
I said that went well. Well, I had to untwist them off the pitch first. You know what I mean? Sonny was running rings around everyone.
Yeah, but I tell you what, it was never nice going to your gaff. Never.
We had some. Well, we turned it around one year when we beat you 2-1.
Yeah,
and we were.
Remember?
we'd only taken 12 points after 19 games. The season we got into Europe, and then the next 19 games for the second half of the season, we took 28 points.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we beat Tottenham outstarted it.
Yeah, no, I remember very clearly. Darren's a Spurs fan.
Yeah, go on.
He joins us. Darren,
Hi.
how are you, my friend?
I don't.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, very well. Listen, we know Cuti Romero is a good player. That's not what's the question here. Would you keep him?
No.
Just straight no.
Yeah, but that's a voice of.
This is the fans. Yeah,
but that's a fair point. But I'm not trying to say yes or no. I'm just trying to give a view, a manager's view.
Darren, what is it for you that you don't like?
You can't trust him. It's the red cards. It's his behaviour. He wanted to go last year. To me, he doesn't commit himself to a club, and he wants to go to Spain. Now he's saying he wants to go to Arsenal. Why would any club want him? He's not reliable.
Well, let's ask the gaffer. This is why
he hasn't come out personally and said he wants to go to Arsenal.
No, this is why we keep taking things as almost gospel.
Because it is handy, isn't it, that happens to be an arch enemy and they've suddenly linked him while the fire's burning.
Correct.
So let's just cool that one down a little bit. The other bit, look, we were just saying, there's no doubt in his ability as a centre half. The big doubt for me as a manager would be, what's the dressing room angle? What is he affecting? Now, if he's getting sent off now and again and making bad decisions, maybe we can coax that out of him and help him on his journey to get rid of that. If there's trouble in the camp, then he's got to go.
It's 4 red cards in 123 appearances. Bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Is it bad?
Well, yeah, but although the modern game is getting more difficult to not get a red card.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong. There is an angle to that.
36 yellow cards.
Yeah, but some of them red cards are silly.
Yeah.
No, I think I don't know this for a fact, but I'd imagine that sort of the yellow card thing in Europe and especially in South America is pretty normal, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's part of their culture almost of football. So I don't worry so much about the yellows. But the reds, there's a few silly ones in there, weren't there?
Absolutely. So Darren, for you, it's done. You're just wiping your hands with him.
Well, you say when you talk about the red cards, if you look what he does in the World Cup for Argentina, he doesn't get sent off.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
He was unreal in that semi-final as well.
Oh yes, but my problem with it is when it comes to Tottenham, he plays like he doesn't care about the club, and you see some of the other players, he's an influence on them, and that's another reason why I don't want him there. He's a bad influence.
I've got to ask you this though, right? Both of you, as Tottenham fans. So why did they give him the captaincy in the first place then?
I think, as Darren said, it felt like he wanted to leave the club. They thought, right, this is how we're going to get him to sign a new deal, which he did.
Which is ridiculous, though, isn't it? Let's have it right.
But again,
it's a bad reason to be signing.
Hasn't Spurs been ridiculous for the last couple of seasons?
Well, look, I'm not going to get involved in that.
Yeah, no, but it is really and truly, isn't it?
If the club's saying to me, we need to promise him this to keep him, I go, well, no, get rid of him then.
Yeah,
that's madness. You know what I mean? I would imagine, I was hoping the answer would be, well, because they thought he was captain material.
Yeah.
Because my point is, you don't suddenly change into a terrible captain for no reason. So the thing that I forgot to say is the first thing I'd ask him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tell him anything. I'd ask him what his view is. I go, where do you think this is at? And then I'd point out all the things that this great caller's called out, you've called out. And I'd say, right, so what is the reason for all this? What's happening in your life? Is there something wrong in your life? Because, but don't be surprised, mate, when some odd things come at you and you go, God, I never even thought about that. So I'd ask him first. Before I started telling him what I was going to tell him, I'd ask him, where are you at with all this? Where are you really at with it? Deep down, what's the script?
Yeah, let's just forget all the nonsense. Let's just be real with one another for the sake of our careers. Great call. Thank you very much, Darren. Got a great message here from Matt. He said, I like this. He must be American. Y'all asked earlier about experiences with actual players. The world was a much bigger place than 1996, absolutely right, and I didn't appreciate it then. But I was at the 1996 Olympic semi-final in Athens on the Brazil roster, right? Bebeto, Roberto Carlos, Jorginho, Rivaldo, and some 19-year-old kid called Ronaldo. Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What a memory that is for him, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the Liverpool fan earlier on that was talking about the team like from the 70s and that. Like, again, whilst things happen, you don't appreciate how great they are.
That's how good and bad life is. Right?
Exactly.
Because you've had breakthrough moments in your career.
Oh, yeah.
And at the moment, they're just happening.
Correct.
And then you look back and go, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, wow.
What was that all about? Yeah.
And again, even like with football teams, like I think, again, with, just because we're on the subject of Spurs, we mentioned Son being captain. And again, I think, I always say to people, Spurs finished 17th last season. It was our first season without either Son or Kane for 10 years.
Yeah.
That is a massive
and them two
adjustment.
were unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, Son, as he matured into a Tottenham shirt, what a player. When you see him up close and personal, mate, you're like, oh, Kane, well, I mean, I'm a massive fan of his, always have been.
You know, I've never had the pleasure of meeting Sonny. As he is likable.
I haven't met him, but I just used to, you know, on the pitch. When
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. When he's
just walking off.
Yeah, he seems like a delight.
Yeah, you just get that feeling, like, you know, and some people have that aura about him, don't they? Where you just think, I bet you're a top pro, top guy, you know what I mean? And they tell me he is, or he was, you know, when he was at Tottenham, and I'm sure he still is.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I'm sure is he over in America now?
He's in LA.
He's playing with Wesley, Ashley Westwood, I'm sure
he's in LA.
Player.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, I was thinking of Columbus. I'm sure he's at Columbus. Sorry, my player, Ashley Westwood.
You know, Son's at LA, which is amazing for him because they've got a huge Korean contingency there.
Right.
And
fair play to him. I mean, the career he's had is incredible.
And
when he first came out, he was pretty sort of unknown, weren't he? At the end of the radar, relatively, you know what I mean, to what he became.
But yeah, it's mad though. He had played with Van Nistelrooy and Van der Vaart in Germany.
Yeah. But what I mean is, he was still a bit of an undercurrent signing for that time. You know?
And the thing is, it took him a while to settle. It did, and it was
absolutely.
And it was only really because Vincent Janssen didn't really take off in the way that he didn't take off the way that we was hoping after his season the year before in Eredivisie. He smashed it. It was like 37 goals. Came in, didn't really do anything. Harry got injured. Sonny comes in. It's like he scored again, and then all of a sudden they become the record-breaking pair of assists and goals together in the Premier League, which is, you know, one accolade. And for them to not win anything like together was a big.
Do you remember? I'll give you a quick insight. When we were at Burnley, right? It's coming towards the end of the season, and we're getting sucked back in. I think it was the first time we stayed up, and they were Swansea were 2-1 up or 1-0 up. And we're literally, my assistant's ringing me going, oh no, this is bad news. You know what I mean? Even my son, we're in the TV room back home. And I'm going, this is really bad news. Only Sonny pops up, Kano pops up. I think they won 4-2 in the end. And we were jumping around you know, absolutely buzzing because it almost secured us.
Yeah.
Right? And the first time you stay up is a massive thing.
Of course.
And we were going mad. And we were going, go on, Sonny. And he became our hero. That's every time you see him, you go, there he is. There's Sonny, baby.
Yeah. That's why I like, for me now, as in a cult hero, Paulinho will always be welcome at Spurs. He you know, scoring that goal in the final day. I'm upset we didn't keep him. 03717 223344 is the number to call. We've got loads of callers waiting. We're going to come to you in a moment's time. The good news, the big man, Alan Brazil, will be back on The Breakfast Show Wednesday morning. I listened to it in the week. So good to have him back.
Yeah, he sounded a good voice.
Yeah, he was in good spirits. And Chris Evans returns to the Virgin Breakfast Show tomorrow, which is must listen radio. I'm sure he's got some bands that he'd put on our lineup. You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. All your favourite games, all in one place. 18 plus, gamblerware.org.
Your thoughts on Vinicius Junior, then Arsenal losing out in that? Were you hopeful or were you doubtful?
Do you know what? I was a little bit in the middle, really. I thought, look, he's a player that would be certainly improve Arsenal. There's no doubt about that. He's got so much talent. But also, he's at Real Madrid, like Andy Townsend said. Why would you want to leave Real Madrid, as Andy says? But whether he wanted a different change of lifestyle and whatever, whether he wanted to go to London, I don't know. But I think what he's done, he's played the market, isn't he? So he's gone, right, we know Arsenal are interested. His agent's probably going to Real Madrid. Well, Arsenal, we're thinking.
What a tune. I remember buying this on vinyl. Such a great record. Groove Armada. One of the members of Groove Armada is a very tall chap.
That's right, and the other one's small.
Yeah. He's tall, like Peter Crouch tall.
Yeah.
Legends Groove Armada. That tune, super styling, still sounds amazing.
What was that breakthrough tune? I don't think the big
It was one of them.
Yeah, a couple, weren't there?
It was definitely the tune that kind of took me to this like festival mainstays, and that record there, it just fits into so many genres. Like, you know, obviously it's a house record, but the bass line on it's a little bit speed garage. Yeah, exactly. You got the reggae vocals, even the way it starts is halftime kind of reggae with the trumpet and stuff.
Yeah,
just a great
record.
Scar
almost.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the best music, the fusion of music. It is Majestic and Sean Dyche here on the Final Word phone here on talkSPORT, and we got lots to go through. Let's go to the phone lines because Michael is a Spurs fan and he joins us on the show. How are we, Michael?
Hello, mate. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well indeed. Listen, it's this Cuti Romero situation. I just want it done in some way. If De Zerbi comes out and says he's staying, wicked, I'll back it. But if he goes, he goes. Really? What's your feelings?
Would you really be happy with that if he was staying? I wouldn't at all.
Do you know what it is? And Sean can help us on this one. I genuinely, and I said this because when De Zerbi first came in, I said I don't want him. I said he was the right man at the wrong time. Because I thought,
manager.
Yeah,
yes.
I thought De Zerbi was the right man, but at the wrong time. I was like, he argues with everyone, and like it's going to be chaos. In actual fact, it worked.
Those two together.
Yeah. Oh my God, it'd be good. I'd watch that on DAZN.
Come around with the phone box.
Yeah. But he kept us up. I've liked what he's been saying.
He's proper, mate. He's a proper manager. He's great.
Michael, get your opinion on this as well, and Sean's. I really liked Conte, right? But I felt that, you know, like when you've got a really good-looking partner and they're better looking than you, and they tell you, like, listen, you're lucky I'm with you. Like I'm a 10 and you're a 6, and they remind you every day, right? That's what it felt like with Conte. Like any moment he would just leave us.
Just to be clear, I've never had that up. Just so we're absolutely abundantly clear, I've never been the 10. That's for sure. I've always been the 6.
But yeah, I just felt like both Jose and Conte was kind of like, we're bigger than you, we're better than you, and they would remind us. De Zerbi, I love the fact he's coming. Is like Spurs is a big club. It feels like we're on the cusp of both of us have got the potential to do good things, and potential's the word.
First of all, let's wait and see.
Exactly,
it's potential. A little window. Yeah, it's just a little window.
Correct.
Different animal being Spurs and Brighton. With all due respect, Brighton, they've become a fantastic club, Brighton.
Correct.
Different animal.
And this is the test for him. Absolutely. And I think he respects that. And I like the way that he talks about that. So for me, Michael, I'm like, I'm giving him full trust now. And I hate to say it, I have to look at the Arsenal model and the trust that they gave Arteta and said, we're going to believe in you.
Yep, stood by him,
And we're going to let you make the decision. What, you want Aubameyang?
Stood by him, that sounds negative. You know what I mean? They gave him a lot of time.
But this is the thing, Michael, for example, if Spurs finish 8th this season, do you go, we go again next year with De Zerbi? Because that's what Arsenal did with Arteta.
Where do you think they will finish? It's a great question for you, Mike, both of you.
Michael.
Where are you at, Michael? Where are you at with where they should finish? I know we're going off point, but I'd be really interested to know your view as a fan, where you think Spurs should finish this season.
I mean, after the last 2 seasons, I'd love a top 10. I mean, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, that's realistic.
But that's right. That's brilliant to a caller and a fan. Sorry, Mike, to say that is brilliant for me as a manager. Yeah. I'll take that if I was them.
So mine is Europa League places. With the money that's spent, it has to be Europa League. Okay. Spurs need to be in Europe.
Not ridiculous, not unreasonable, not that easy, but not
absolutely. But
sorry, mate. Go on. Sorry.
Go on, Mike.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, I'd love a top 4, obviously, but we've got to be realistic about the whole situation.
But do you know why? Do you know why the Europa? Do you want my romantic fantasy, right, Michael? This is what I'm feeling. Spurs get into the Europa League positions next year. We're back in Europe. Harry Kane comes home on a free transfer.
Right? I get where you're going.
Yeah,
I get where you're going.
And then we win the Europa League with Harry, and he's won something with Spurs.
I got you.
You know what I mean? But no, on a real, if we can finish in the Europa League places with the money spent.
That, wouldn't he?
Yeah. But yeah, Michael, so anyway, just back to our point.
Yeah, sorry.
I trust in De Zerbi to whatever his decision is, I'm sticking with him. That's all I'm saying, Michael.
What, with regards to Romero?
Yeah, correct.
He's got to go, mate. He's had his time at Tottenham, and he's annoyed too many fans. I mean, look at all the kids that are watching the game now and his behaviour. And
yeah, it's not a good example.
It's not a good example, but not only that. We've had Sonny as captain, we've had Harry Kane as captain, and then we've had Romero. I mean, what it's kind of a big fall, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, certainly different kind of captain. I'll say that. But like you say, I didn't know the reason, probably what you said, where they just thought keep him calm or keep him involved. But yeah, I mean, look, it seems like the power is building and the power of fans is important, and De Zerbi will know that, by the way. You know, now, don't get me wrong, I don't think manager will make a pure decision on fans, but it does get overbearing at times when they might have to go, look, for the good of the team and the club, this is a better decision, you know, to let that player go, or not let him go, sell him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, great call. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, it's the general consensus. A lot of people...
Seems powerful now, doesn't it? It's building, that one.
Yeah, I just think sometimes with fans, we've seen it with Jill, with Man United, when fans are upset with a player, it's very hard to get them back on side.
You know what's interesting, though, because it's another thing I'm intrigued with fans' view, because a lot of fans come up to me now, because I'm always on this one about players you know, diving and cheating.
I just quickly, as I remember, because I know Michael said something, Harry Kane was actually never Spurs' actual captain. It was Hugo Lloris. Hugo, then Son.
Of course it was, yeah.
It just feels that Harry was a captain.
Yeah.
But I think he captained Spurs the first time at Turf Moor in a 0-0. Yeah.
There you go. No, I was just going to remark on that when he said about his behaviour. But you could say about a lot of Premier League players' behaviour. Do you know what I mean? There should be an improvement across the board for me. You know, and you mentioned about kids and all that watching. You know what I mean? There should be an improvement across the board for me. So I don't think that's just purely on him. But I do get the point in a Tottenham shirt. There has been some weird and wonderful moments, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly that. And it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah.
Right, let's turn our attention to producer Ross's team. Everton, one of your former sides.
Yep.
Everton and Crystal Palace are closing in on a straight swap deal involving wingers Dwight McNeil and Brennan Johnson. McNeil, who has entered the final year of his contract at Everton, is set to join Palace 7 months after a proposed £20 million move to Selhurst Park collapsed on deadline day. Heading the other way to Goodison Park is 25-year-old Welsh international Brennan Johnson, who struggled for form at Palace following a £35+ million move from Tottenham, failing to score in 26 appearances. Sean gave McNeil his debut, and influence gave him a great season at Everton. What do you make of the player? What do you make of this deal?
Well, I mean, I'll be intrigued on whether it's a straight swap literally or whether there's money involved. I would imagine there's some money involved, probably towards, you know, the Crystal Palace side of things, Everton giving them some extra money. I don't know. That's not to get involved with the players. I think they're both very good players. I'm bound to go on the side of Dwight because I gave him his debut and hopefully sort of helped him somewhat with his career. Still only 26, got sort of 250 games under his belt or something like that. So he's certainly, you know, he knows the Premier League. He can play a number of different positions. Brennan's a different one. I think Brennan, maybe, you know, I'm looking at Everton thinking with the Jack Grealish situation, now a different type, of course. Jack was a carrier of the ball and became a talisman almost for him, you know. Brennan's more direct and he's got more direct pace, you know, more direct runner. So
he arrives late at the back post.
Yeah. So I can see why both would maybe be thinking Dwight maybe a fresh view of it all and goes to a club and, you know, gets a different feel. It's been a bit hit and miss at Everton with the crowd and stuff like that. That can sometimes play a little bit on you. And I think Brennan's been similar, hasn't he? He's gone down to Palace, not quite worked out, but, you know, spells of it when it's worked, not quite. Maybe it's a good fit in a different way. You know, it gives Dwight a different feeling coming to London. Would he be affected by that? Because I've mentioned before that some players are and some love it and they fit hand in glove and others find it a bit tricky. Equally, would Brendan be better off going outside London? You know, you know, be different feel, you know, to a northern club. You know what I mean? He's from the Midlands, obviously, in Nottingham, which is not only North Midlands, you know what I mean? But it's a different feel with the fans, different, you know, different cultural feel. So it might suit both in a different way. Well, it'd be really interesting to see if this happens, how them two players do. It'd be really interesting.
Absolutely. And let's find out from an Everton fan, because Dave joins us on the show. How are we, Dave?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, chaps? You all right?
Yeah,
yes.
Good, thanks, Dave.
You've heard this potential swap deal. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's two players who feel like they're in a bit of limbo, really, because Dwight, you know, obviously he was heading to Palace last season. Yes, they've got on his back a bit because he's one of those players. He's so he's quite a frustrating watch at times because I'm sure he tries to. Sometimes he's walking around and the crowd get on the back and he's got a good delivery. But I think it makes sense for the swap. I don't know whether that signals anything for Ellerman and Jai with someone like Brennan Johnson coming in. I would hope not, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a decent swap if it's a swap.
Yeah, Illy's done really well there. You know, we signed him when we were there, and he's done great. I mean, he really has, and he's progressed a considerable amount, I think. With Dwight, I think Dwight's a very good player. I'm bound to say that, like I say, I gave him his debut, but I think he's a seasoned Premier League player, so I think you pretty much know what you're going to get. And I can actually see Brennan doing well at Everton as well. Excuse me. I think the crowd would go with him. Dwight's just like you say. I don't know. It's a funny one. You know, fans can be funny with players for no absolute. You know, there's no absolute apparent reason. And the Evertonians, as much as I had a great time with them and shared some great memories and some hard memories, by the way, but they can be a bit like that because Michael Keane. I mean, what a player Michael Keane is. I loved working with him. And yet they were on him for a while. And last season he was meant to be terrific. I mean, I didn't watch all the games, but I saw a few. You know, and he had a terrific season. So I think there is a place where they could do well at each club they're at now. But I could see why they could change equally. You know what I mean? I could see why that might occur. It might be a good deal for both.
Dave, what's the expectations and hopes for you going into the season as an Everton fan? What is a good season for Everton next year?
It's so difficult as an Everton fan explaining to other teams because we're the perennial Premier League club, aren't we? That just doesn't seem to do anything positive, but never really goes down either. So we're kind of in that horrible. We're in that horrible. But you say that, Sean. But I think I'm not one of these who thinks you should go down. But Jesus, winning something would be nice, like a promotion or something. Just having that positive feeling. I mean, all I would say is that what I rang really is. Watching the pre-season friendlies and historically last few seasons, we're going to have the same problem we had for the last 3 years. You can have Grealish and Ndiaye and Brennan Johnson and these fantastic players like Dewsbury Hall, but if you've got Barry or Beto up front, there's there, and I know you know them better than I do, but most Evertonians will tell you straight away, neither of those players can carry us forward to the top.
No one's really done the job up front for Everton since Lukaku.
Yeah. And how frustrating, Dave, it must be to watch Calvert-Lewin banging in 14 goals last season in the Premier League.
It was. I mean, look, Calvert-Lewin. I always liked Calvert-Lewin, but the problem was, he was made of glass, and he played 3 games a season. So it was literally like, I could see what
he needed a start. He needed a fresh start. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah. Sometimes
we need someone up front banging the goals.
Dave,
no, exactly. I couldn't agree more.
Would you take Richarlison back? Because we talked about second stints at clubs. Richarlison loves Everton.
Yeah, I'd take him back in a heartbeat.
Would you?
I would take him back in a heartbeat. Have him as the number 9. Get him up because Richarlison's not a bad player.
He's another frustrating player.
Yeah,
I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, I can't wait.
Yes, but you know what it is, and then again, you go to the stats. Yeah, he scored 11 goals in the Premier League for Spurs last season.
A really tough season.
In a tough season.
Yeah,
and Krupi, who's been bounded, I know he's young and he's very talented, scored 13.
Yeah.
It's 2. If I'm Richarlison, I'm like, I've scored 2 less than the guy that everyone's talking about. I'm Premier League experience. I'll put a shift in for you and I'll work hard. But, he, again, it's frustrating because I don't know about you, Dave, but as a Spurs fan, sometimes it will score an outrageous goal and then the tap-ins, you go, how have you missed it?
Yeah. Well, I've got to say though. Yeah, no, I know. So I will, I like these lads. Well, Beto we signed, but we did a reverse finance deal. We didn't have any money, so we signed him we didn't pay for him for 18 months.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? So
literally, was
so we knew it was going to be a slow project, for him to get to Premier League speed. And he's had patches. I mean, physically he can handle it. He's had patches, but I know exactly what you mean. Most managers, I'll tell you now, in the Premier League, most of them know what they're doing. They're looking at the front of the pitch. What have we got at the front of the pitch? That's the difference between now, I'm not about the Super Bowls. I'm not about winning the league. But if you're sort of, top 6 outside of the top 6 of the club, you're looking who's going to score the goals for us. And that is such a big difference. Everton was so close to pushing on last year. Barry nicked a few, Beto nicked a few, but they didn't have someone who they could go, bang, they're going to score goals. And a massive part for Leeds, mentioned about Calvert-Lewin, was him turning up.
Absolutely.
It was a massive part. Without that, they'd have been in a bit of trouble.
Yeah.
So it's such a big thing, but everyone thinks they go on tree strikers.
Well, this is it. We are.
I had Ashley Barnes, right? Ashley Barnes, people knock him, but he was getting just around double figures, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 every season in the Premier League with Chris Wood. So if you got 2 of them, people said, why did you play 2 up front? There's your answer.
Yeah.
Because we get 20-odd goals a season out of them. And we couldn't do it with 1 player. We had to do it with 2.
Brilliant, cool. Thank you very much, Dave. So we're talking about the potential swap deal for Dwight McNeil and Brennan Johnson. Me as a Spurs fan, as I said, Brennan Johnson will always be in our hearts because he was that man that turned up. It probably was his own goal, to be fair, in Bilbao.
That's harsh.
Yeah, but
take it.
He was there. Take it. We had a great time. Johnson again, or you, all that. Good fun. Coming up next, we're going to have an emotional moment as we discuss hard competitive sports. You're listening to The Final Word on talkSPORT with Sky Vegas. All your favourite games, all in one place, 18+, gamblingaware.org.
Smoke without fire, of course not. He is interested in the Arsenal project.
Arsenal
if he's to leave Real Madrid.
Arsenal going for Vinny Jr. is like me sending Rihanna a message on Instagram saying that I'd love you to come to the Bullring in Birmingham. I want to take you around Birmingham on a date. Like, it's not going to happen. Like, he's not leaving Real Madrid to come to Arsenal, one league title in over 20 years, can't win a Champions League in their whole existence. He's not going to come to Arsenal. He's used Arsenal to get an extra 5, 6, 7, 8 million pound a year, and he's going to sign a new contract at Arsenal. I mean, sign a new contract at Real Madrid. Simple. What he's doing. Arsenal have been used.
Did you ever shoot your shot with Rihanna though? Did you ever DM?
I might have. Yeah, I might have. That's private business. I might have.
But the point is, we know that Arsenal have made a go at Vinicius Jr. So they've tried.
And I maybe I tried, and it didn't work out.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, but it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out for Arsenal, is it?
You wait.
If I lay here, if I just lay here,
Lovely harmonies on this.
would you lie with me and just forget the world? All that I am,
Ready with the harmony? Listen to the harmony.
all that I ever
So good. Snow Patrol. What was their first song that I remember them coming out with? Run. That was it. Run was a great record, wasn't it?
Like the one, you know, The City. Did The City for yourself tonight? It's about Belfast, though. That's
yes.
I can't think how it goes. You know what I mean?
I know the one you're talking about. Snow Patrol, Chasing Cars. I mentioned it earlier on. Always reminds me of sitting on the beach in Cavos. This is the Final Word phone-in here on talkSPORT with me, Majestic, and Premier League gaffer Sean Dyche. But we have been talking about music during the show because we love our music, and of course that is my actual profession as well as doing this. This is like I get to talk football with people I admire, which is great. Lee, who's a Borough fan, joins us to give us about players that have gone back to their clubs and someone for our festival. How are we, Lee?
Hey, yeah, we're good, thank you, mate. Thanks very much. So this one's going to give Sean Dyche nightmares. Obviously, I'm going to mention the little fella, Janino.
Yes, we know why.
Oh, there's no nightmares there, mate. All there is for me is unbelievable memories of seeing an unbelievable football at that time. You know, he's arguably, I'm sure you're going to join in with this, he was arguably, at that time we played him in the semi-final, they were talking about arguably one of the top sort of 5 players in Europe at that time, playing in a side that were having a tough time. What a player.
Absolutely.
What a player.
Absolutely, 100%. And
he's the best player I played against him.
If it wasn't for Gianfranco Zola that season, and it's still a contentious issue on Teague's side, Janino would have got player of the year. I mean,
he was unbelievable.
What a season that was for us. You know, it was heartbreak, it was tragedy.
Yeah.
to be honest. We'd just say it was typical Borough now, basically. So.
Well, you were skipper in that semi-final.
Yeah, and there was a lad called Mark Jules, right, great lad, and he sort of man-marked him. I'm not kidding, but forget this about people like Gennaro. You know, they think it's all talent. He needed oxygen when he came off, mate, running around chasing him. He looked fresh as daisy at the end of the game, Gennaro, and you just went, oh, my goodness, this guy, you know. And everyone thought he was talent. He covered the ground like you wouldn't believe. He was like a little hummingbird, but just happened to be a hummingbird who was really good at football. If there ever was such a thing.
Everybody in Teesside thinks Sean Dyche hates Middlesbrough now because of Janino. So
No, not at all. I don't. You know what? I swear on my life, I don't hate any football club I've played for. I don't hate any football club in the country. I've been hammered by them. I've been treated well by them. Bristol City, I had a terrible time. Bristol City with the fans ever. I don't hate it. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy it. It's part of being a footballer. You can't have all. You
know what you sign up for.
You know what I mean? You can't have all the highs. Yeah.
Lee, let's talk about our music festival. Who would you put on our dream lineup?
I mean, there's only one band, really, boys, isn't there? And they are the best band of all time. They are the best British band of all time. It's going to be Oasis, isn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, I think we would. They almost got into the superpowered stuff, you know what I mean? But I think
you know, they're so big. I feel like I can't even book them for my mystery festival.
Yeah, I know.
Even though it's like fantasy football.
No, I couldn't agree more. It's like, imagine they go, really, festival? Maybe Glasgow can pull it off because it's Glasgow, it's worldwide, isn't it? You know what I mean? But I know they've played there before and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I was fortunate. I saw them the first gig last year at Cardiff.
I didn't get to go.
Do you know what, mate?
Gutted.
My biggest thing I'd say, because I know, you know, a little bit about bands and that. They played it like they were 7 gigs in, right? And I know from bands, they always go, it takes you 2 or 3 to get. They were unbelievable. The first gig at Cardiff, they were unbelievable. The atmosphere, but their performance was absolutely amazing. But I don't think we've thrown them in, mate, to be fair, just because they're almost like, they're an festival now. You know, they're so big, they have a festival of their own.
Exactly.
They'll be inviting all the ones we mentioned.
Exactly. Lee, did you get to see them last year?
I didn't know, but I will give you another band that I have seen. If Oasis are too big and we need to tone it down a little bit, there's a band from Lee in Manchester called The Lottery Winners.
I've heard of them, yes.
And they are absolutely amazing live. They are superb.
I love that. So
I'll have a look.
So the Lottery Winners is we're going to put the people onto. I love that.
Yeah, I'm just right.
I'm very keen about getting new bands there.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You know, their stripes, because we need the next generation. We need the next Oasis, the next Kasabian.
Yeah, I remember seeing Blossoms. They also remember me mentioning it in an interview after the Isle of Wight Festival.
Yeah.
And they remembered me mentioning it.
Oh, because it means the world.
Yeah, and I didn't think about that, though. I just mentioned them because I thought they were great. And then a few years later, I was in one of their videos. So, you know, now I'm mates with them. So I love stuff like that. I love it.
And again, you know, like, that's why I say to people, when you go to watch a gig, go for the support acts. Go and watch it. Because that's where I found... who did I see? The Editors, when they supported Muse. I became a massive Editors fan.
Yeah.
I tell you, the Zootons, they were great.
Editors were at the festival in Nottingham recently. Yeah.
He has got such a distinctive voice, isn't he?
Yeah.
Was it the Smokers outside the hospital waiting room? What a title!
Yeah, the K's are good. I've seen them recently. They're really good. I've seen them a few times actually.
But yeah, I remember seeing the Zootons support Muse at Earl's Court. Obviously, the Zootons wrote Valerie that Amy Winehouse went on to cover and make it even bigger than what it was. Wow, you know, what a record to have written.
Yeah, absolutely.
So our Final Word festival lineup main stage is a great mix here. We've got Basement Jacks. This is all everyone's contribution, by the way. Killers, Kasabian, Calvin Harris, Groove Armada. Someone's gone with Gary Newman. There we go, an 80s synth.
Yeah.
Foo Fighters.
Legend.
Snow Patrol, White Stripes, Massive Attack, Mystery Act, Stereophonics. There's so many bands that are not on there.
Inhaler, by the way. Watch out for them, Inhaler. Well, not watch out for them. They're growing all the time. But they're really good, Inhaler.
Who I see the last few. Do you know what? I had 2 weekends.
Vaccines, I saw them recently.
Very good. Very good.
Good friends, but brilliant band as well.
I had 2 weekends. I went to the West Ham Stadium, the London Stadium. I saw Metallica, right?
I've been there, seen them.
I love Metallica.
Unbelievable. I saw them at the O2.
Oh, that must have been rocking. And then I don't know if you might have seen it online because the video went quite viral, actually. I took house music legend Todd Terry to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
That's brilliant.
To watch System of a Down and Queens of the Stone Age. It was unreal. He was rocking out. And that's the thing, as we said, sometimes, again, because I come from the world of dance music, people don't realise that I'm a massive rock music fan. And
here's one similar sort of things. I love these little, things about life. So Ian Astbury, lead singer of The Cult, is a big Everton fan. So I got invited down to watch The Cult. And The Cult, when I was a kid, were like, like She's So Angry and all that.
Yeah.
When you hear the ding, 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 and I'm thinking, oh, yeah. So I go and watch. And then you're standing backstage and I'm just chatting with him and it's so surreal. Because I was like a little kid when I'm going, all right, Ian, and he's going, all right, Sean, I love what you're doing, Albert. And I'm going, all right, you're in Asbury. That weird thing in your head when you go, what's that all about?
It is.
I love that about beating bands.
It is crazy. And, all of our wonderful listeners who got involved with, some of those amazing footballers that they've met and gone, wow,
Yeah, absolutely. It's different. It's just different. Like in your business, you're in music, so it's different for you. But when you're in football, I'm used to meeting footballers, right?
Yeah.
So they just go, all right.
Yeah.
When it's musicians now, I always go, all right.
That's why I pass when we're meeting footballers. It's like, oh my God, it's them.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing now, is you grow up watching footballers, everyone's older than you. And these are young lads now. They're like 20 years younger than me, but I still look up to them like, oh my God, it's you.
Ian McCulloch had a beer with him as well. Brilliant.
Oh,
I know he's a legend, yeah.
So many amazing names. So yeah, that's our festival there. Listen, quickly, what's the hardest sport? We want to turn our attention to one of the biggest talking points around. What is the hardest sport to play? Because former British tennis star Greg Rosetsky on his podcast called out Paul Scholes for suggesting that football is harder than tennis.
You can't compare football to tennis. I mean, there's no question about it. I was watching Paul Scholes saying, oh, football's so much harder than tennis. I've never heard a load of rubbish in my life. I mean, come on, Scholesy, let's go play some tennis and see how long you can last out there and having to move directions, no substitutions. There is no question physically tennis is much more demanding with the travel schedule, with competing, with having to support and fund your own team. There's so many more things that makes tennis a much more difficult sport.
Looking good, old Greg Rosetsky there.
It is, absolutely. Dry your eyes, are they?
Yeah.
Dry your eyes. It's not that big a dry.
He's got upset, though.
Yeah.
What's the hardest sport, though?
I think it was playful, wasn't it?
Yeah, tennis, golf, football.
I mentioned to you earlier, do you know the one that foxes me? Snooker.
Yeah.
It looks so easy on the TV, and then you get break of 17, you're buzzing. You think you're like Ronnie, you know what I mean? Just because you got 17.
Yeah, I watch golf, and I'm like...
Yeah, golf is... Do you know what the difference is, mate? Because I know Tommy Fleetwood is an Evertonian. Me and my mate, Chamber, we went over to Dubai and we were watching him.
Oh, to the JGE?
Yeah. And when you see him hit it, it is just like a different... And he hit one, just quickly hit one. It's his second shot, and he goes, yeah, I didn't quite catch that. And we walking up, and he goes, yeah, I felt a bit better. He said, that'll be about 6 yards further. And I swear, we walked up, and it was 6 yards. And I went, how can you feel that for a golf club?
Mad, isn't it?
Oh,
different levels. That was from Off Court with Greg Rosetsky, part of the talkSPORT podcast network. You can hear it on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for all your calls and messages this evening. Thank you very much to Sean.
No, I enjoyed it, mate. Thank you. And thanks to the listeners.
The Sports Breakfast Show returns tomorrow. Jeff Steadman and former Aston Villa midfielder Andy Townsend. But if you need some music in your life, swipe across to Virgin Radio on the talkSPORT app as Chris Evans returns from his holidays. We're back next Sunday off the back of the Community Shield, which is live on talkSPORT. But coming up next, it's one of the best shows on the network, the Trans Europe Express. So from me, Madge, and him, Dyche, good night.